Hey, Keelan, can you hear me now? Sure.
And Commissioner Maps, just whenever you're ready, I'll go ahead and lead off with the pre-gavel.
Mayor, Commissioner Maps couldn't hear you. We don't have the audio in the room right now, but
okay.
I'll let you know once we're ready to get started, and then you can kick it off.
Okay, great. And then after the pre-gavel starts, I'm just turning it over to him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yep.
All right, thanks.
Hello. Is everything working out? Was I correct that those pipes go from sometimes to the other?
Yep.
Oh, there is. Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, how late you working today?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
Commence our regular council session. I believe we have a pre-proc, which the mayor would like to introduce. Mr. Mayor.
And colleagues and all, I apologize for being virtual today. As you know, I was fighting the crud earlier this week, and just out of the abundance of caution, I didn't want to spread it to you. So thank you, Commissioner Maps, for being willing to preside again today.
Of course, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for taking our health seriously. And welcome to our guest.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us on this lovely spring morning. And I will go ahead. My name is Shireen Farahi, and I have been living in the Portland area for 23 years. My late father was Iranian, having immigrated to the United States in 1960, and my late mother was American. I was raised in San Francisco and then in Corvallis, Oregon. My father died when I was 9 years old, and until I reached my teen years, I had never heard of Nowruz, or Persian New Year, because my father never celebrated it for reasons unknown to me. It was not until I moved to Portland and later joined the board of directors of the Andische Center that I began to embrace this beloved ancient tradition by putting together a half-seen, or 7 S's, table display at home every year, which showcases 7 symbolic items of springtime that all begin with the letter S. The Andische Center was incorporated in 1998, and its mission is to celebrate and promote Iranian culture, heritage, and arts, and serve as a bridge to the broader community. And one of its main activities throughout the years has been holding Nowruz celebrations. Some background about Nowruz. The Nowruz period, which takes place over nearly 2 weeks in late March and early April, includes customs in addition to the half-seen table display, such as visiting family and friends, doing spring cleaning of the house, cooking special foods, and buying flowers and new clothes to wear, as well as a variety of ceremonies, traditional games, performances, and other cultural events. Before the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Iran and Afghanistan were the only countries that officially observed Nowruz. But when the Caucasian and Central Asian countries gained independence from the Soviets, they also declared Nowruz a national holiday. In addition, Nowruz is celebrated by Iranian and other communities in the Americas and in Europe, with festivities taking place in Los Angeles, Phoenix, Boston, Toronto, Cologne, London, and beyond. On March 15, 2010, the United States House of Representatives passed the Nowruz Resolution, House Resolution 267, recognizing the cultural and historical significance of Nowruz. Despite my personal affiliation with the Andische Center and the board of directors participating in drafting the proclamation and City Hall exhibit, the current City Hall exhibit, this new endeavor to obtain a Day of Nowruz proclamation from the City of Portland and present a Nowruz educational exhibit at City Hall is meant to be a collective Iranian community effort, which I hope will now start to take place every year in order to elevate the profile of this tradition held so dear by the Iranian and other ethnic populations that celebrate it locally, encouraging the community at large to learn more about it and appreciate it, and particularly descendants of Iranian immigrants like myself who may not have necessarily been raised with exposure to Nowruz. I would like to thank you all for your time today. It has been a heartfelt honor for us to come before you to introduce the globally cherished Spring New Year tradition that is Nowruz. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello, my name is Hushain Sadiri. I am an Iranian Kurd and I came to United States as a refugee in 2011. I became an American citizen in 2016, for which I am grateful. Since my arrival, I have resided in the state of Oregon and the Portland area. In all these years since my immigration here, I have celebrated the beginning of the new year for Iranians, like the years when we sat around the half-seen table with my family in Iran and celebrated the new year and performed rituals, including cleaning the house for a new beginning and buying new clothes for family members and preparing the half-seen table, which includes sabze, the symbol of rebirth, samanu, the symbol of power, senjet, the symbol of love, somar, the symbol of sunrise, sirke, vinegar, the symbol of passions, sib, apple, the symbol of beauty, sear, this garlic, the symbol of health. Family members gather around this table during the arrival of the new year. And afterwards, the family members hug each other and wish each other the best. Then elders and parents who have already prepared new money give AD New Year gifts to their children. One of the most important things to do during Nowruz, which is 13 days, is to go to the homes of elderly people, family and friends, and interestingly, children also like this part because when they go to the house of any elder, they receive an ED in the form of new money. These gatherings continue until the 12th day. And on the 13th day, the majority of people go out of the city and into nature for a picnic and spend the whole day in nature. They take their sabze grass spurs along and leave them there in nature. What this day of Nowruz proclamation means for me as an Iranian immigrant is that an important tradition in my culture is being honored and promoted by the city of Portland, providing an opportunity for people like me to talk about it with the community and share our personal stories of our own family customs and what makes this holiday so special to us individually as a culture. At the end of my speech, I would love to say Happy Nowruz to all of you. To all of you, because yesterday, about 13 and a half hours ago, at 8:06:26 p.m., the year changed from 1402 to 1403. I wish you all the best. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. I want to just take a moment, if I may, to thank the mayor and our visitors for highlighting this important tradition, Nowruz. I'll tell you, just yesterday I was talking to actually a member of Commissioner Gonzalez's staff who was talking about the important role that Nowruz has played in his family. It's great that Portlanders can come together at moments like this to learn about our cultures and learn about our families and to share in amongst many things, especially the new year, the new spring. So I'm really delighted to be here today. And I see Commissioner Gonzalez has his hand up.
I just want to, many thanks for everyone in celebrating this important holiday and for the mayor bringing this forward. Nowruz Mubarak to all. I wish everyone and their families a safe and prosperous new year. And just want to call out Grace Zarpak and Shah Smith on my team, who on the one case is married a Persian immigrant, and the other case is a descendant of a Persian immigrant. So thanks so much for celebrating with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for this opportunity.
And Mr. Mayor, I see your hand is up.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank our guests for being here today. And I also appreciate the opportunity to learn about the holiday of Nowruz. It's an ancient festival, as we heard, celebrating the Persian New Year. It's rooted in the Iranian religion of Zoroastrianism, and it dates back over 3,000 years. So this is a very, very old tradition. And as you know, colleagues, here in Portland, a city enriches by the vibrant spirit of those who join our community. Nowruz symbolizes our shared commitment to embracing and celebrating this unique cultural heritage. I think the message of eternal optimism and the promise of a fresh start, which are at the basis of Nowruz, is something we could all definitely benefit from. This year, I'd like to acknowledge our local Iranian community's efforts to share the tradition of Nowruz with a 2-week exhibit at City Hall from March 19th through 29th. If you check your calendar, you want to see the exhibit very quickly. It's downstairs. I encourage everybody to visit it. This initiative not only showcases the rich cultural traditions of Nowruz, but it also reinforces Portland's legacy of cultural diversity. So I really thank our guests for being here. Shireen and Houshang, thank you both so much for bringing this important work to the Portland City Council and by extension to the public at large. Thank you, President Mapps.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps, presiding officer. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for bringing this forward today, and for the two of you for being here and educating me and I think many others about this ritual, this tradition, that no matter how many governments have tried to oppress it, the people linger and persist because it's rooted in love and community. So thank you for educating me and many others about this very sacred ritual. And what a great time of year to have it, I must say.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Rubio.
Yeah, I'll just join my colleagues in deep appreciation for coming forward today. And to recognize this really important event. And like my colleagues have said, I'm really glad to deepen my learning as well. So really appreciate that. And it's important for all Portlanders to understand the rich contributions of the Persian community to to our city. So very excited to learn more about the City Hall exhibit and glad that it's there. And I'm particularly drawn to the message around the appreciation for environmentalism and, our connection to it, and also celebrating the tapestry of our diverse communities here in the city. So thank you. I will definitely check it out and encourage people to as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And please come back next year. Whoever is still at the table, I hope that we can make this a formal proclamation moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And with that, colleagues, this is the March 20th, 2024 morning session of the Portland City Council. Keelan, please call the roll.
Good morning. Rubio.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Knapp's.
Here.
Wheeler.
Here.
And now I will turn it over to legal counsel for the rules of order and decorum.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps. Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with City Council can be found on the council clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during City Council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct, such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Disclose if you are a lobbyist. If you are representing an organization, please identify it. And for testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, next up we have communications. Keelan, could you call our first item, which I believe is 232?
Request of Zachary Lesher to address council regarding bike and pedestrian infrastructure and urban design.
Welcome, Zachary. Do we know if Zachary's online or in person? Oh, hello, Zachary or Sebastian.
Hi. One sec. I'm using two computers at once because I'm testifying on a later agenda item.
Okay.
Zachary's not able to make it because for personal reasons, but as another volunteer with Bike Loud who's testifying and organizing this testimony, the clerk said that I could testify in his place. Is that
Sure,
right?
That's great. Are you Sebastian? How about just name? You don't have to tell us the address in 3 minutes.
Okay, cool. Great. Well, good morning, Mayor Wheeler and members of the council. Thank you for giving me time to speak about this and for allowing me to fill in for the previous speaker. My name is Sebastian Bishop, and I'm a volunteer with Bike Loud PDX. I'm here to give this week's testimony on behalf of Bike Loud to advocate for more concrete infrastructure to ensure that pedestrians and cyclists can safely move around. In previous weeks, my co-constituents have outlined that building concrete physical infrastructure goes hand in hand with modifying driver behavior. I would like to build on top of this and add that safe infrastructure is a matter of racial and economic equity as well. For me and many other Portlanders, cycling is not just a hobby, but the way I commute to work. Previous testimony has mentioned the inadequacy of flexible bike posts to protect cyclists and cited the example of the posts on Northeast 21st that has since been replaced with concrete cylinders. I happen to live near this intersection and think this is an amazing step towards safer streets. I also used to live and currently work further into East Portland around 82nd Avenue. There's a stark difference with the amount of physical infrastructure relative to other areas of Portland. When revitalizing our roads, I urge City Council to keep paying special attention to areas of Portland that have less safe infrastructure, which also happen to be majority low income and BIPOC. As a person of color who is active in ensuring diversity, equity, inclusion in the cycling community, I argue that investing more in safe infrastructure in these areas is fundamental to ensuring racial equity for all of Portland. On top of environmental and health benefits, there are great economic benefits for underserved communities who have more access to cycling. The economic cost of maintaining a car is not the most viable option for many of us. Ensuring that we have safer roadways in all parts of Portland will help people who most desperately need access to alternative forms of transportation. This in turn will allow more freedom of movement across the city and bring a more diverse set of people to different parts of the city. It is for these reasons that concrete infrastructure is imperative for giving the most options to our community. Thank you again for your leadership and for your time.
Sebastian, thank you so much for your testimony today. I couldn't agree with you more. I know you, I think Bike Loud has some representation, I believe, on Peapod's Bike Advisory Committee. I'd love to have the Bike Advisory Committee submit some recommendations to council before the end of this year so that we can continue to move forward on our shared goal of building a safe multimodal transportation system. Thank you very much, and it sounds like we'll hear from you again later on today. Keelan, can we go to the second item on communications? I believe that's 233.
Request of Christina Miller to address council regarding lack of police action to protect the St. John's community.
Welcome, Christina. Do we have Christina in person or online?
Check. Doesn't look like Christina has joined us yet.
Okay, well, before we exit communications today, we'll circle back to see if Christina is able to attend. Next up on communications, we have 234.
Request of Elijah Cooper to address council regarding homelessness, housing, substance abuse, and career development.
Welcome, Elijah. Yeah, please sit. Name for the record, no need to tell us your address, 3 minutes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Elijah Cooper. I am the owner, operator, executive board member of Loving Hands of Oregon. When I came to Portland, Oregon in 2009, I was homeless, didn't have a job. I had lost a career in the Marines. I lost everything, absolutely everything. Kids, condo, car, money, everything. But the people of Portland, being as loving and caring as y'all are, welcomed me in food, shelter, everything I needed. So I came up with an idea of how to give back to the city of Portland. And I've already started the infrastructure for a 24-hour homeless shelter. I just need a building and funding. 24-hour homeless shelter that provides substance abuse counseling, short-term employment, long-term career development and placement. Also provides short-term, I'm nervous, short-term housing and long-term housing development. Not placement because I believe that's too costly for the community. But service members and vets are included. And they get everything that I just listed off, but they also get an addition to PTSD, having help with that, suicide prevention as well, long-term housing development and placement. I believe that our service members and vets should always have a place to stay, even though they volunteered to go, but they didn't volunteer to, I apologize, I'm choosing my words correctly. Sure. They didn't volunteer to come back broken. And I believe it is our job as a community to help those that served us. And so the reason why I'm here is to ask y'all for a federal building decommissioned and entrusted into my business name. And at any point in time, y'all can take it back. And then I'm also asking for $8 billion so that I can create, for the immediate facility, 70 new jobs. And then for the 6-month period of the program, if people sign up for the program, 6 months, I'll be able to pump out 70 new people to the workforce that have second chances, so to speak. But not just any type of second chance. I've also have started creating the infrastructure to provide oh my God.
You're good.
What is the word? Can't think of it. Pre-apprentices.
Yep.
So in other words, trades. I'm putting out trades versus McDonald's, no offense, Taco Bell or anything like that, trades. And then also, so at the year end, the community will have 140 new tradesmen and women doing cosmetology, doing also all types of things to help the community so that we can give them a second chance or third or fourth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. I very much appreciate the work you're doing, and I appreciate the fact that you came here today to brief council and to make a pitch. One of the things I'd also encourage you to do is to make sure and give a very similar presentation to our colleagues across the river over at Multnomah County. I think that they might be an important resource for you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't go yet. I see Commissioner Ryan has his hand up. Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, Elijah, I just want to thank you for coming today. Thanks for sharing your story as well.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I really appreciate your focus on workforce. We need to have that be a larger part of the service package that we invest in with the county. And the county does drive the majority of the homeless services in our region. So I agree with Commissioner Maps to make sure that your voice is heard at the other side of the river as well.
I will.
Thanks
And
so much.
we're not done yet. Commissioner Rubio.
Elijah, I just want to say thank you for coming. I think you did great presenting to us today, and your cause is really noble, and I just want to thank you for your service and that you're still willing to be here and offer services back to the community. So it's full circle. So appreciate you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. We sure appreciate you coming in today, and I do encourage you to reach out to our friends at the county who are just across the river.
I will make it happen.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
The same. Next item on communications today, we have 235. Could we call that one, Keelan?
Request of David Raycroft to address council regarding Geek Week.
Welcome, David.
Yeah, this is an intimidating setup.
Don't be. We're really nice in this room.
Excellent. Well, good morning, Mr. Wheeler, Mayor Wheeler, members of the City Council, and citizens of Portland. Thank you for your time today. My name is David Raycroft, and I'm actually here to tell you a story. A wondrous tale of adventure, mystery, danger, and yes, magic. The story begins on a dark and stormy night. Our humble wanderer began with a simple goal: to discover the finest comic shop in the land. Well, and to get lunch. Little did they know this simple quest would become an epic journey from the Witch's Castle to Wonderwood Springs. Our intrepid adventurer discovered countless magical mysteries, discovering books with pictures that come to life, the gigantic guardian whose games will test your wit and resolve, and surviving the battlegrounds where the coffee is strong and the warriors are stronger. Riding the Portland Pop Train, he soon uncovered over 120 small businesses that inspire the imagination. In his travels, our hero met tens of thousands of kindred spirits who gather in places of power, such as the convention center during Rose City Comic-Con. Those participants never know that beyond the walls, there be dragons and some pretty epic bars and restaurants as well. In celebration of all that is wondrous in Portland, a grand festival has been proposed. During the second week of September, all are welcome to Geek Week PDX, where the streets will come alive with parties, tournaments, markets, and more. Imagine Mardi Gras meets South by Southwest for nerds. I am here to call upon the mayor, the council, and again, the citizens of Portland to boldly go where no city has gone before. We welcome the dreamers, creators, artists, and innovators to Geek Week PDX, the world's first citywide Comic-Con. From September 9th through the 15th, right after Rose City Comic-Con, come for the con and stay for Geek Week. I am David Raycroft, and this is my story to tell. In your packets, you'll have a geek guide if you want to go exploring, and additional information about what we're proposing. For more information, you can also go to geekweekpdx.com or follow us on Instagram at, you guessed it, geekweekpdx. Thank you for your time. I'm David Raycroft.
Thank you, David. And before you go, I see the mayor has his hand up and Commissioner Rubio has a hand up too. Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, David, just wanted to say how much I appreciate you coming in here and letting everybody know about Geek Week. I think it's fantastic. I really appreciate your leadership. This is great for Portland. Thanks for everything you're doing. Puts a smile on my face. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rubio.
So, David, I just want to thank you for coming to council and bringing your project forward. I'm so excited about this, and when my staff and I are all talking about it, and as a self-described geek and gamer/gamer, I'm thrilled about this. And I'm also really glad that you're working with the Film and Events Office. And just want to highlight that for a minute, that, you know, for those who don't know, the Film and Events team will help partners navigate all the city bureaus and all permitting and all appropriate opportunities to streamline so that the vision of the organizer can come to life. So looking forward to seeing you that week. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, thanks. David, so Mardi Gras meets South by Southwest. All right, that's bold. Great. I saw people smile in this room that I very seldom see smile when you started speaking. So clearly you know how to read the room. Portlanders can come together over Geek Week, and we all know we need to come together over something. So thank you so much. We're all looking forward to it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. And thank you to all of your staffs who've been incredibly helpful so far.
Well, excellent. And before you go, I do want to just preview. I know in the coming weeks ahead, I think a formal proclamation in celebrating Geek Week will be coming from, I believe, probably my office, maybe Rubio's office, the mayor's office. So stay tuned. More to come. Thank you so much, David. We really love what you're doing in this space. Next, we have a final item on communications 236. Keelan, could you please call that item?
Request of Portland advocates for lead-free drinking water to address council regarding Portland Water Bureau and public health.
Welcome. Are visitors online or in person?
Yeah, they were going to join online, and they haven't arrived.
Okay. I think can we circle back to see if Christina on 233 is in the waiting room?
Yep. Christina Miller.
Oh, okay. Colleagues, that concludes communications. Commissioner Ryan, your hand is up. I assume that's just a leftover. Thank you. Next, why don't we go to our first time certain? This is 237. Keelan, could you please read that item?
Proclaim March 31st, 2024 to be Transgender Day of Visibility.
Thank you very much. And this item comes to us from Commissioner Ryan's office and the mayor's office. Mr. Mayor, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, why don't I go ahead and kick us off? Good morning, everyone. Today, we celebrate Transgender Day of Visibility. I'm grateful for the Office of Equity and Human Rights, our city employee resource groups, and of course, our many, many community partners that came together to prepare today's presentation. I certainly look forward to hearing it. Before we get started, Commissioner Ryan, I'll turn this over to you as the co-sponsor if there are opening remarks you'd like to make.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Aubrey. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. This is a profoundly important conversation, and one that goes to the very heart of what it means to live in a just and equitable society. First, I want to state in plain terms that transgender rights are human rights. Every person, regardless of their gender identity, deserves to live with dignity, respect, and safety. In Portland, we pride ourselves on inclusivity and diversity, and we definitely are a place where people are coming to feel safe. That said, we can always strive to do better. The challenges faced by transgender community are numerous and systemic. We'll hear more about that today, from healthcare disparities to higher rates of violence and discrimination. These aren't just issues, they are urgent crises that demand our immediate attention and action. As a city, we must ensure that our public services, all of our public services, are inclusive and affirming and for all gender identities. This includes making sure that our healthcare systems are equipped to meet the needs of transgender individuals. Our schools and sporting facilities are safe places and inclusive places for transgender youth, and our law enforcement practices respect and protect the rights of all people. Together, we'll build a Portland that truly embodies the values of equity, diversity, inclusion, friendship, and love. I'll turn it over to you, Aubrey. Take it away.
Welcome, Aubrey.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Honorable Mayor and City Council. For the record, my name is Aubrey Chen. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm proud to be able to stand here before you today, not only as an LGBTQ program analyst with the City of Portland's Office of Equity and Human Rights, but also as an out and proud transgender woman. I'm privileged to be able to join everyone here today for my first Transgender Day of Visibility with the City of Portland. I came out almost 10 years ago now, almost 4 years after activist Rachel Crandall founded the very first International Day of Visibility. Personally, I have found much joy in visibility. When I was young, I had never knowingly met another transgender person, and the depictions of transgender people in the media back then, at least, were terrible. In the past decade, I've been absolutely thrilled to see and experience trans joy. When I was coming out, I got to see transgender stories on television, to read books by trans authors, to meet out and incredible visible trans professionals and role models. For me, the increasing visibility of the transgender community and the increasing prevalence of positive trans narratives coincided with my own personal journey of finding community and acceptance. However, visibility is no substitute for equity. This period of increasing transgender visibility has coincided with a terrible wave of anti-trans legislation and coordinated attacks on the transgender and non-binary community. Last year, over 400 anti-LGBTQ bills were introduced in state legislatures countrywide, and over half of them explicitly targeted the transgender and non-binary community. States and cities have passed policies banning transgender people from competing in sports, removed LGBTQ representation in books and libraries, and stopped transgender people from accessing vital, life-saving healthcare. These policies have magnified and intensified transphobia and hate, especially against some of our most vulnerable community members, our transgender and non-binary youth. Just last week, the Washington Post found a correlation. In states that had passed anti-transgender legislation, hate crimes against transgender youth had quadrupled. We need both visibility and equity. The City of Portland's Office of Equity and Human Rights was created by City Ordinance in 2011. It was tasked with holding the city accountable for promoting equity and reducing disparities within city government and ensuring that the City of Portland serves all Portlanders. In 2021, with the support of council and city staff, the Office of Equity expanded its focus to explicitly include gender identity and sexual orientation by creating the LGBTQIA2S+ program. A year ago, council allocated funding, one-time funding, to double the capacity of our program, expanding the number of full-time staff working on LGBTQIA2S+ policy from 1 to 2. In the 9 months that I've been with this program, I am proud of the work that we've done to collaborate across bureaus, to deepen our relationships with our community partners, and bring pro-LGBTQIA2S+ policy to City Council. For this Transgender Day visibility, I want to bring visibility to not just the transgender community and the challenges we face, but visibility to the commitment and dedication of city staff to ensuring that the City of Portland serves our transgender and non-binary community. I want to bring visibility to our government and community partners in ensuring transgender and non-binary youth belong and thrive in our city. And I especially want to bring visibility to the incredible people that have paved the way for me. I have a number of speakers here who were here and present at the first City of Portland Transgender Day of Visibility proclamation in 2019. And the fact that their work and dedication and visibility have paved the way for me, a first-generation Chinese-American transgender woman, to stand before you at council today. Now, I would love to invite our speakers to join me on the dais, and as well as I believe our first speaker will be joining us online. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe our first speaker is Angie Foster Lawson, who's on Zoom.
Hello. For the record, my name, can you hear me? It's all working well? Awesome. For the record, my name is Angie Foster Lawson. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the coordinator for the LGBTQ2SAA+ Student Success Plan and Grant Program within the Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at the Oregon Department of Education, or ODE. I'm humbled to join you today in sharing both the joy and uncertainty that visibility of transgender and all gender expansive students can bring, and the commitment that ODE has to improving safety and well-being in school communities. Everyone plays a role in supporting gender-affirming school communities. When families, educators, and administrators come together to support transgender, non-binary, two-spirit, intersex, agender, genderqueer, and gender fluid, or as we say, gender expansive students, these students can thrive in school, and all students benefit from the improved school climate. We focus on this support because the 12% of Oregon students who are gender expansive report feeling unsafe in our schools. And when students experience identity-based bullying and harassment, suicidal ideation, and fear-based absences, students are prevented from accessing their education. Many of these risk factors are higher also for students of color and students with disabilities experiencing compounded harm from systemic racism and ableism in our schools. School leaders have the opportunity and responsibility to prevent this harm by following Oregon laws and policies to support all students in 3 key actions. 1, support educators and school staff to interrupt harassment and affirm students in the classroom. 2, create safer learning spaces for students to thrive, which includes access to gender-affirming facilities, mental health services, and curriculum. And 3, engage with families and communities while holding student safety at the center. In 2020, ODE worked with community members and students across Oregon to develop the LGBTQ2SAA+ Student Success Plan, which provides schools and districts strategies to increase student safety and success toward achieving their educational goals. In 2021, the legislature codified and funded the plan's implementation through $2 million per biennium in grant funding and funding for ODE staff to coordinate the implementation of the plan and the advisory group. In 2023, ODE staff released the Supporting Gender Expansive Students Guidance to clarify legal requirements, peer-reviewed research, and best practice recommendations for supporting gender expansive students in Oregon public schools. Today, the LGBTQ2SAA+ Student Success Grant Program funds $4.1 million per biennium. In our first 2 years of grant programming, we've seen increased visibility across the state, including a youth summit in Southern Oregon so well attended there was standing room only, a region-wide LGBTQ2SAA+ affirming professional development series, including a Train the Trainer model, which reached hundreds of teachers in the Columbia Gorge, and a research-backed family engagement program centered on principles of family acceptance, all in the name of visibility and support. In taking on this work together, we can move towards school spaces where students can thrive exactly as they are in every community across Oregon. Each letter of the LGBTQ2SAA+ acronym is a poignant reminder of the resilience and joy that has brought us to this moment and the boundless hope we have for Oregon's gender expansive students' bright futures. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up we have...
Next we have Mickey Gillette.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Mayor and City Councilors. My name is Mickey Gillette. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm the Major Gifts Officer at Basic Rights Oregon. Thank you for welcoming the community to present here again for Trans Day of Visibility. As some of you might recall from previous presentations, Trans Day of Visibility, or TDOV, was begun in 2009 by Minnesota activist Rachel Crandall in response to the fact that the only recognized day for the trans community was Trans Day of Remembrance, a vigil honoring people slain in anti-trans violence. In 2019, having learned of TDOV, I approached Mayor Wheeler's then aide, Seraphy Allen, about the possibility of marking the event at Portland City Hall. With the help of Seraphy, Aja Blair, and many community leaders, we were able to make this a reality. I wish I could say that the 5 years of increased visibility our community has experienced since that first TDOV ceremony in Portland had ushered in greater levels of understanding and acceptance. But unfortunately, a glance at any day's headline reveals the exact opposite. Rather than listen to actual trans people, our families, or the physicians who treat us, conservative politicians propagate pernicious myths about us while passing draconian laws, robbing our community of life-saving health care and the ability to attend and participate in school as ourselves. The tragic death of Nex Benedict in Oklahoma, a teen who was relentlessly bullied in their school following the passage of a slate of these laws in that state, underscores the consequences this campaign of hate has unleashed. This deluge of cruelty from conservative media figures and lawmakers continues unabated, with the ACLU having tracked 478 anti-LGBTQ+ bills in the US last year. One outcome of this is that trans people and families with trans kids who have the means to do so are fleeing red states for places like Portland, which they view as a haven. It's with pride then that we present to you this year, because we know that in observing Trans Day of Visibility, we're demonstrating that the aim of this awful rhetoric and legislation, which is to drive our community out of the light and into the shadows, will never succeed. Our will to live authentically as ourselves will always outstrip whatever opposition we face. At Basic Rights Oregon, we work every day to ensure that all LGBTQ+ people in our state can pursue their lives free from discrimination. This past legislative session, we helped defeat bills introduced here in our state designed to rob trans youth of the health care they need and of their ability to attend and participate in school as themselves. We were elated a few months ago when this council showed its dedication to equality by accepting the LGBTQIA 2S+ strategic plan presented by Lex and Aubrey. It's our deep hope that this dedication will continue so that the transgender youth and adults who've moved from states and towns that rejected them can find welcoming homes in my favorite city, the City of Roses, Portland, Oregon.
Thank you. And next up we have...
Next we have Rebecca Riley.
Hi, thank you, everybody. My name is Rebecca Riley. I use they, she pronouns, and I'm the director of LGBTQIA2S+ programs and New Avenues for Youth. New Avenues for Youth is a nonprofit that's been serving young people experiencing housing instability for 27 years. And I just want to draw the connection between supporting trans people and trans youth with other issues that we see in our city, including houselessness and suicide. For me, I run 2 community spaces that serve transgender and gender-expansive youth, and I see every day the effect of harmful narratives and inadequate public policy and societal support on these young people that I work with. According to the National Center for Transgender Equality, 1 in 5 transgender individuals has experienced homelessness at some point in their life, and trans youth are 6 times more likely to attempt suicide. In the US, family rejection and bullying in schools are the main contributors to these statistics, and many of our young people exist at intersections of gender identity, race, socioeconomic oppression, homelessness, and disability. They're constantly navigating interlocking systemic barriers to stable housing and adequate income in systems that were not built for them during a time of historic anti-trans rhetoric and policy. Too often, these young people are used as political pawns or educational moments in this sort of societal and political climate. And these young people deserve to live in a world where their experiences are honored, their voices are uplifted, and they receive holistic care from the communities they live in and are a part of. These youth deserve safety. Transgender identities and the people that hold them deserve compassion, respect, and visibility. And when this doesn't happen, we are all worse off. Supporting these folks' identities is suicide prevention, it is homelessness prevention, and it is necessary groundwork for all young people to grow into these healthy, productive adults that we want them to be. And visibility is complicated and also so important. And all of these young people deserve to believe in a future where they can thrive, and visibility is a huge part of that. How can you have hope for your future if you don't see that future for others? Trans people should be able to live in a world where they can be unapologetically themselves. And so, cementing Trans Day of Visibility in Portland is a small but significant step towards realizing a vision of safety and support, and further indicates an intention to urgently increase access to compassionate, high-quality healthcare and social supports. So we call on City Council members and Portland residents to continue to educate themselves, reflect upon their own relationship to gender, and take every opportunity to elevate trans voices. We have the power to show up and show our support to make a lasting impact on countless lives.
Thank you.
And next we have Jaden Dotson.
Welcome, Jaden.
Good morning. My name is Jaden Dotson. My pronouns are he, they. I'm an out transgender person that works in the revenue division for the city of Portland. I came to the city 10 years ago seeking career growth after having worked at the same private company for 13 years. I'm not going to go into much detail, but right away I knew how fortunate I am to be employed here. Professionally, I came out to my previous place of employment in 2004 after working for them for 3 years. Coming out at my job turned out to be one of the hardest things I've ever done. For over a year, I was not allowed to use the restrooms in my office. I was instructed to use the women's restroom on a different floor. Sorry, I was trying not to get emotional.
You're doing fine.
A little nervous as well. But that didn't last long because my appearance made a woman scream. And I left many meetings with HR and management in tears. That broke my dignity, my self-esteem. They asked me invasive and inappropriate questions and made offensive jokes like suggesting that they get an outhouse with my name on it and put it behind the building. I internalized, just catch myself.
Take your time.
I internalized that my existence made folks uncomfortable and scared because I was different than their norm. While this was hurtful, to say the least, I just wanted to keep my job and go to the restroom where I worked. While there's always growth to be had at the city, I feel supported to be out as trans, to have a place where I can use the restroom of my choice without fear, to have the Queer Alliance group to gather and address issues, and to put my pronouns in an email signature and see so many others do the same. I am so lucky to have a supportive spouse, loving and caring family and friends that help me through those hard times. Many aren't so lucky, but I am keenly aware of how fortunate I am to be here today. I am sure you have heard about Next, which you just did. A trans teen who was bullied, sustained injuries in their Oklahoma high school restroom, and passed away the following day. Their loss has stuck with me, partially because I know that could have been me, another trans statistic. I'm also reminded of why I am visible and an out transgender person. In my 10 years working at the city, I have had multiple coworkers come to me with questions regarding their family, members, or friends for help and understanding. I offer resources and support because I see constant attacks on trans people as we become increasing target of hate and fear of late. I want it to get easier for our trans folks and our trans youth instead of going backwards and creating more laws that hurt us. In my 10 years of employment at the city, I have worked my way up through the Revenue Tax Specialist Series to lead and supervisor, and now I'm currently serving in a temporary position as project manager for the city side of our system upgrade for the Revenue Division. I couldn't grow and evolve in these roles without feeling empowered and supported here. Now I'm in a place where I can use my position and power to lift up other voices. I'm always striving to make every interaction with the city of Portland a positive one, both internal and external. I only hope the city will continue to make strides to invest in our trans and non-binary folk, not only for our employees, but also for our transgender and gender non-conforming community members. Trans folk are here, whether we are visible or not. We live and work beside you. I am visible and open about my gender identity so other trans folk can see themselves represented within the city. I am visible in a certain setting. I have the privilege of feeling safe enough to do so, where others might not. I am visible so other trans folk know they're not alone. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe this is the part of the program where our council is invited to make comments. Is that correct? Colleagues, any comments? Commissioner Gonzalez.
I just want to thank Mayor Wheeler and Commissioner Ryan for bringing this proclamation forward. I'm grateful that the city of Portland has historically been and continues to be an area of inclusiveness and welcoming people of all from throughout our country. Despite our challenges in other areas, Portland remains a safe haven for marginalized groups. transgender people bring this life, creativity, passion, and intention to our city each and every day. I'm grateful for the work being done by the Office of Equity and Human Rights to make us a more inclusive and responsive city. And I'm happy to proclaim March 31st as Transgender Day of Visibility in the city of Portland. I also want to thank you all for testifying, your seeing, and raising your voices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Rubio.
I want to thank the mayor and Commissioner Ryan and Aubrey for bringing the proclamation forward, and our presenters, Mickey, Rebecca, and Jaden, for being here. And we're very honored to hear your stories and your journeys. It's very humbling and important. And this to me, this proclamation remains one of the most important ones that we can really do as a city council. As my colleague said earlier, Commissioner Ryan, trans rights are human rights, and we need to do everything that we can, because I do feel, I know you feel, and I hear from you all the time, that we have a moral obligation to protect trans kids so they can enjoy their full lives, their visible selves in this community. It's really crucial for us to continue to explore how we can best continue to support trans communities and to be unapologetic about our work towards being known as an equality forward city, a welcoming city that's a destination and a safe harbor and safe haven for folks here. I'd also like to really lift up and appreciate BIPOC trans folks too, and the distinct visibility challenges that they face in multiple communities. As electeds, we have a duty and responsibility to calling out and addressing transphobia and homophobia, xenophobia, anti-Blackness, and other violent negativity, because we all know that these things share the same ugly root of white supremacy and colonialism and patriarchy. But our responsibility as government goes beyond proclamations, as you know, and as I've heard you so eloquently remind us more and more. We still have much more work to do when it comes to addressing challenges specific to trans communities and housing and workforce and education, healthcare, et cetera, public safety. But these reports to council, funding decisions, these are the things that actually make a real difference in people's lives, and that translate to positive experiences and the ability to bring full self into work, and also having trans and LGBTQIA staff represented at all levels of our city in leadership. This is what it means to walk our talk. So I hope to continue working with you. Thank you for continuing to speak up and remind us of our responsibility to be inclusive and representative as a city. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Well, first of all, I just want to say how much, as mayor, I've appreciated this annual celebration. And one thing that's been consistent throughout these Transgender Day of Visibility celebrations has been the incredible courage and the resilience that's been shown by our presenters. I appreciate the fact that this issue, maybe more than any other issue we discuss, requires people to be vulnerable, to put themselves out, to tell difficult stories about their own past experiences. That's not easy to do, and today was no exception. And I just want to thank our speakers for being present, for sharing their stories, for being willing to relive some of their personal trauma so that the rest of us in the community can have the benefit of learning from those experiences and having a better understanding of what people in the transgender community experience personally. I agree with the sentiments that were expressed by our presenters as well as my colleagues that Portland needs to stand firm when it comes to inclusivity. Portland needs to stand firm as being a place where people can be free to be who they are without the fear of persecution or worse. And this day reminds us both how far we have come as a community and as a nation, and it also reminds us how much farther we have yet to go. I also really appreciated the speaker's comments regarding how many of these issues are aligned, how individuals who are experiencing the type of discrimination that transgender members of our community feel not only happens as a result of their status as transgender individuals, but also there tends to be overlays with other issues around homelessness and incidences of depression and other public health related issues. And to acknowledge that this is a very, very challenging place for people to be. And the least we could do as a community is to offer support. But understanding is important as well, and executing on the vision that we outline with this proclamation every year is also important. I'll be not here the next time this proclamation is read, but I share our speakers' hopes that the next crew that comes in continues to support this effort, continues to push us towards a better, more inclusive, more understanding future. And I just want to say how much I appreciate having had the opportunity to be part of this now for many years. So thank you to our speakers. And Commissioner Mapps, at the end of all of this, when we're done with our comments, we'll turn it back over to Aubrey, and Aubrey will read the proclamation. And if I jump in at the right time, I'll finish the last paragraph. Thank you, Commissioner Mapps.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll also have some comments from Commissioner Ryan, and I have a few thoughts I would like to share. But first, let's go to our one of our sponsors of today's proclamation, Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps. Thank you so much, Aubrey, Angie, being online, Mickey for being here this morning, your work at BRO, and also as a playwright. Rebecca from NAFI, thanks for bringing that perspective. I'm well aware of that data about how many of our homeless teens identify as trans, and that we are a city that welcomes them. And thank you, NAFI, for always being that organization that's been on the front lines of that. And also, thank you, Jaden, for being here. You all shared stories, and they were all powerful. And it's really refreshing to be in a council meeting where we get to listen to such courageous, truthful comments. So I really appreciate you for showing up wholly today. Fighting to participate in life as ourselves is everyone's goal in life, and was mentioned earlier today. And each letter added allows me, I know, to dive into that inclusion. I've been around on this journey of adding those initials for some time. Life goes fast. And each letter really does allow you to go through your own journey to be a part of that inclusion. And what I've learned is that fear is just such a persuasive tactic, and it really blocks the heart to open up and just get to the facts. So thank you again, each of you, for being on the front lines, and your courage to simply be yourselves today inspires me. This is personal more so than it's ever been, because I'm married to a non-binary counselor with Mexican identity in the David Douglas School District. So I get to hear stories, never names, very careful with their boundaries in their job, but knowing that they are there allows some students to be seen, and hearing the stories of them coming when no one's looking to connect is powerful. So, and I know none of us had that when, most of us didn't have that when we were in high school. So there's inspirational stories all over the place, of course, including all of you. Again, all of you said something that will stick with me. And I will just end, though, with something you said, Jaden, because it just breaks it down in such a simple way. When I'm in relatives that don't live in Portland, I love these topics. I'm from an Irish Catholic family that debates at the table about things all the time. It's just our culture. And I love that I would keep my job and go to the restroom while I'm working. It's pretty basic. Everyone would like that, right? So I'm just humbled and empowered to celebrate Transgender Day of Visibility. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Ryan. And before we read the proclamation, I have a few thoughts I would like to share. First, I want to thank Commissioner Ryan, the mayor, and Aubrey for bringing this item forward today. And I want to thank our invited guests for joining us today. And I want to say this, I am honored to join this council in proclaiming March 31st, 2024 to be Transgender Day of Visibility. On that day, we come together as a community to reaffirm our commitment to fighting for equality and prosperity for our friends and neighbors who are transgender. And on Transgender Day of Visibility, we recognize the work that still needs to be done. As we have heard today, transgender Portlanders face a shocking amount of discrimination. Transgender women, especially Black transgender women, are amongst the most brutalized people on this planet. Members of the transgender community suffer from high levels of domestic violence, high rates of unemployment, high rates of housing discrimination, high rates of homelessness, and they are very likely to be the victims of hate crimes. Portland must do better, and that's what Transgender Day of Visibility is all about. Now, I am confident that this council is committed to bringing dignity and prosperity to Portland's transgender community, and we have made some progress in this space. For example, I remember just a few years ago, Portland's LGBTQIA+ community asked this council to create a position specifically dedicated to addressing the needs of Portland's queer community. And I have good news, as we all know, that position exists today within the Office of Equity and Human Rights. And that's not the only progress we have made, colleagues. For example, last year, this council added a second position to our team over at OEHR, which is working on LGBTQIA+ issues. However, it is also important for us to remember that that second position is scheduled to be eliminated at the end of this fiscal year because it was funded with one-time dollars. Colleagues, I feel compelled to make this closing argument. There is something profoundly hypocritical about this council proclaiming Transgender Day of Visibility while at the same time we cut the staff serving Portland's LGBTQIA+ community in half. That's why, as we build a budget for the next fiscal year, I will advocate for renewing that second position over in OEHR, and I hope you will join me in figuring out how to make that happen, and I hope all Portlanders will join me and this council in celebrating Transgender Day of Visibility. Thank you very much, and with that, I believe it's time to read the proclamation.
Great, thank you so much. I would also like to take this moment, if possible, to recognize that I stand here before you with the support of an incredible amount of city staff of support. I would like to, if possible, ask them to stand and or raise their hands to be recognized. I would also, if it's okay, I would like to invite our staff to, and our speakers maybe to join me in this proclamation, because this work is not done by one person. So I'll read one line, and if I could please invite our staff to sort of maybe come up and join me to, and our speakers as well, to maybe read one line as well. Thank you so much. Whereas transgender, transmasculine, transfeminine, non-binary, genderqueer, gender fluid, two-spirit, agender, and gender nonconforming people have always existed and made important contributions to their communities, and thank you.
Whereas transphobic cultures, including that of the United States, continue to suppress the existence and contributions of transgender and gender nonconforming people, and
whereas transphobia creates disparities negatively affecting transgender and gender nonconforming people in health, housing, employment, and all major aspects of life, and
whereas white supremacy
I don't have my glasses. Hang on for one quick second. Someone else can read this.
Whereas white supremacy, ableism, anti-blackness, misogyny, and transphobia are interconnected and depend on the continued violence against Black, Indigenous, and people of color who are transgender or gender nonconforming, particularly Black transgender women, and
Whereas houselessness and housing service providers consistently fail to provide safe and knowledgeable support for transgender, non-conforming people experiencing houselessness, and
whereas transgender and gender nonconforming youth are increasingly targeted by anti-LGBTQIA2S+ legislation and policies, and
Whereas transgender and gender nonconforming youth deserve to participate in sports, to thrive in schools, to see themselves represented on the shelves in libraries, and to be recognized, respected, and affirmed, and
Whereas among cities in the United States, Portland is home to the second highest percentage of LGBTQIA2S+ people per capita, including transgender and gender nonconforming people, and
Whereas the city of Portland strives to make our community safe and empowering for its transgender and gender nonconforming residents, and
Whereas the city has not yet succeeded in this endeavor, and whereas visibility for transgender people is complex and nuanced and should not be a precondition for justice, and whereas Transgender Day of Visibility is an opportunity for the Portland City Council and the city as a whole to recommit to building partnerships with transgender and gender nonconforming communities, to address challenges and invest in city infrastructure that furthers this work of lifting the voices and needs of this community. And let me pass it on to the mayor.
Mr. Mayor?
Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2024 to be Transgender Day of Visibility in Portland and encourage all residents to observe this day.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, can I suggest that we take a picture before we move on to the next item? If our colleagues would be willing. Let's do that, and maybe also take a 5-minute break or so should anyone need to refill their cup of coffee. Let's go to the next time certain, which I believe is 238. Keelan, would you please call that item?
Proclaim March 2024 to be Women's History Month.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, I believe you and Commissioner Rubio were sponsoring this one. I'll start out with you.
Yeah, very good. I don't have any lengthy introductory talking points. Obviously, we're here today to celebrate proclamation for Women's History Month. I'll turn this over to Commissioner Rubio for any opening remarks she wants to make. And then after that, we'll hear from Debbie Castleton, the BES Public Involvement Coordinator, and Judith Mowry, OEHR Deputy Director. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you. Colleagues, I'm proud to co-sponsor this resolution with Mayor Wheeler proclaiming March 2024 to be Women's History Month. At a time when women's rights are under an unprecedented attack in the United States, it's more important than ever to lift up the stories of our past, our present, and our future. As the only woman currently serving on Portland City Council, I know that there is so much more work to be done to achieve gender equality, and I want to thank our presenters for joining us this morning. This proclamation is personally meaningful to me because Women's History Month gives us all a moment to recognize the women who have inspired all of us in big and little ways and to thank them. And today I'm immensely proud to highlight one woman in particular who has greatly inspired me and also helped build a strong community as well in Washington County, and that's my mother, Maria Caballero Rubio. The nonprofit organization that my mother leads, Centro Cultural, began as a community of migrant workers and their families who wanted to make Washington County their permanent home. These folks, the majority of them led by women, formed Centro Cultural as a place to build community, serve each other, connect, and build a prosperous life. It was through Centro that my mother helped develop the Latina community in Oregon and initiatives to expand Centro's mission and to help provide job and technical training, meal programs, childcare, and cultural events. Growing up, my mom took us to Centro and had us kids volunteer at the center, and I saw her lead in our community every day. But it didn't stop there. At home, in the car, everywhere she went, she never stopped doing and caring for our community, because building community can change everything. And that's an example that she set for me and something that she still does to this day. People like her and many other women in our community inspire many of us to serve our community right here in Portland. And it's because of people like them that we know that community is what drives change. And change is needed more than ever for women in our community who continue to face barriers to equality. Since the U.S. Supreme Court eliminated the federal constitutional right to abortion, nearly 1/3 of women in the United States lack meaningful access to reproductive health care. And extremist right-wing politicians aren't stopping there. They are now coming after birth control and vitro fertilization. In addition, women are still paid only 84 cents for every dollar a man makes, and the ratio is even lower for women of color. Black women earn 69 cents, Indigenous women earn 59 cents, and Latinas earn 57 cents for every dollar that the average man earns. I'm proud to co-sponsor this proclamation to draw attention to these inequities and also celebrate the strength and resiliency and contributions that women make both this month and every month. So I'll now turn it over to Debbie Castleton.
Thank you. My name is Debbie Castleton, she, her pronouns. I've worked for environmental services at the City of Portland for the past 23 years. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Prior to working at the city, I worked for an engineering firm that was working on a very large capital improvement project that some of you may know about, the Big Pipe Project. I was encouraged by one of the few women at environmental services who worked on the project to apply at the city. Deanna Hinton was her name, and she mentored me, helped me grow, and encouraged me to take on leadership roles. She stood up for me when the men in the meetings would ask me to do tasks that weren't in my job description. She taught me to speak up. My job was community outreach, and it wasn't my job in the meetings to get coffee or even the dry cleaning of one of the consultants. As I've gotten older, much older, I have not been treated like I did in the workforce as a young and more inexperienced woman. If I hadn't had Deanna helping guide me and mentor me, I don't think I would be where I am today. Still, I am usually one of the few women on a project team. If I were a woman of color, you will see even fewer on the team, not to mention in leadership. Add in that most women are the caretakers of families, and the inequities increase. This needs to change, and I hope that I and other women at the city will continue to be a part of groups like Women's Empowerment and find opportunities for mentorship, encouragement, and to help lead the future of the city. We've come a long way since I first entered the workforce, but we are still not where we should be as far as gender equity. The world average for women in the workforce in 2024 is 50.6%. The United States has a percentage of 56.7% of women in the workforce. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, women's earnings were 83.6% of men. U.S. women earn about 82 cents for every dollar a man earned. At the City of Portland, according to the 2023 workforce census, 44.4% of employees identify as female who participated in the survey, and that was a 60% response rate. But combining employee demographic data identifies 38.4% of the entire workforce as female. I want to thank the leaders of women's empowerment, especially Ariel Bradford, Anna Brophy, Zulema Carballo Figueroa, Tamara Knox, Judith Mowry, Veronica Nordine, and Linda Novitsky. Women's Empowerment is working to collaborate with other employee resource groups on language exploration and creating inclusive spaces for members. Women's Empowerment continues to network with external city groups to add to resources for women employees. Women's Empowerment offers a space to unpack the system and support other women employees. It continues to work on important policies that include teleworking and flexibility, continues to advocate for childcare options, mentorship and leadership, and an employee growth plan. Women's Empowerment upholds the city's values and leads with an anti-racist approach. I'm going to leave you with two of my favorite quotes from women in history that really resonate with me personally. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive and to do so with passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. Maya Angelou. And my next one, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. That was Shirley Chisholm, U.S. Congresswoman. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe we also have some comments from Judith. Welcome.
Morning. Thank you so much, Commissioners, Mayor. Excuse me, can I please join in the celebration of Commissioner Rubio's mother, who is an inspiration, as is Commissioner Rubio. I also really am moved and appreciate the call out that I've received from the Women Empowerment Group. You know, as we get older, we have another layer of identity as older women that can make navigating the system more challenging for a lot of us. So thank you, group. I also just want to briefly say I was so moved by the testimony we've heard this morning, and really reminds me of my mother, who I will call out for Women's History Month. My mother was a huge advocate for LGBTQAI+ rights in the city of Portland as a PFLAG mom. Marge Work, you're all probably too young to remember her, but she was a bigot buster, and she was an amazing activist. And I will just share with you that everywhere she went, when she was speaking to groups of LGBTQIA+ folks, she would sing the song that Mr. Rogers used to sing, entitled "I Like You As You Are." And it was a very powerful way to think about moving in the world. So thanks, Mom. I just also wanted to say that Othering and Belonging Institute, which I'm a huge fan of in Berkeley, that John Powell, who many of you are familiar with, leads, defines belonging as means having a meaningful voice in the opportunity to participate in the design of political, social, and cultural structures that shape one's lives. The right to both contribute and make demands upon society and political institutions. So I encourage each of us to spend some time examining how we can create belonging and stand against the wave of regression and oppression in our country and indeed the world that we are experiencing toward people identifying as women these days. Remember that the intersections of identity, class, race, ability, sexual orientation must always be recognized and accounted for. Build bridges of understanding. Be leaders who encourage and challenge us to continue to reach for true belonging, not regardless of, but inclusive of race, ability, gender, identity, sexual orientation, class, religion, and age. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I believe this is the point in the program where our members of council can share comments. Is that correct? Great. Well, I think I managed to get my hand up first, and so let me just kick off comments by thanking the mayor and Commissioner Rubio for bringing this item forward. I want to thank our invited testimony today. We appreciate the thoughts that you shared and the work that you do on behalf of Portland. And colleagues, I also want to say that I'm proud to join you in declaring March 2024 to be Women's History Month here in Portland, Oregon. During Women's History Month, we honor the legacy of women who've made a lasting impact on our city. That's why every year, as part of this proclamation, I try to take a moment to remember the women who have served on Portland City Council. In our city's 173-year-long history, only 10 women have served on this council. In 1943, Dorothy McCullough Lee became the first woman to serve on council. And in 1948, Commissioner Lee ran for mayor and won, which also makes her Portland's first female mayor. In 1970, Connie McCready became the second woman to serve on this council. McCready was a maverick Republican who broke with her party on issues like the Equal Rights Amendment and gay rights. In 1979, McCready was appointed mayor when Neil Goldschmidt resigned in order to become the Secretary of Transportation for the Carter administration. And in 1972, Mildred Schwab became the third woman to serve on this council. Schwab was a lawyer and a crusader for women's rights who played an important role in forcing Portland businesses and private associations to serve women. In 1981, Margaret Strawn won an election to fill a vacancy on this body, which makes her the fourth woman to serve on Portland City Council. Strawn was instrumental in the creation of the Pearl District. And in 1991, Gretchen Gafori became the fifth woman to serve on this council. Of course, many Portlanders still remember Gretchen. Gretchen's obituary in the Oregonian described her like this: she was a rabble-rouser, a mother, a grandmother, a teacher, an organizer, and a friend of the poor. And the very next year, 1992, Vera Katz was elected mayor of Portland, which makes her the sixth woman to serve on this council, and our third female mayor. Vera was a refugee from Nazi Germany and a fierce advocate for women. Under Mayor Katz's leadership, Portland transformed from a sleepy timber town into the vibrant, livable city that we all know and love today. And Amanda Fritz joined this council in 2009, which makes her the seventh woman to serve on this body. Of course, many Portlanders know Amanda well. She is a champion for campaign finance reform, Native American rights, and served as the commissioner in charge of the Water Bureau, Parks, and the Bureau of Development Services. And in 2017, Chloe Ujeli joined this council, which makes her the eighth woman to serve on this body. Of course, Commissioner Ujeli was a passionate advocate on behalf of renters. And in 2019, our former colleague Joanne Hardesty became the 9th woman to serve on this body and the first Black woman to serve on Portland City Council. Of course, Commissioner Hardesty was a passionate advocate for equity and inclusion. And in 2021, our colleague and friend Carmen Rubio became the 10th woman to serve on this council and the first Latina to serve on this body. Of course, Commissioner Rubio is a passionate advocate for immigrants and the environment and many other things. Now, colleagues, I'll close out by saying these 10 female leaders are true Portland trailblazers. In addition to that, they've been incredible champions for women's rights and other priorities. These leaders have helped pave the way for generations of female leaders who have helped shape our city by serving as bureau directors, department leaders, council staff, and volunteers. And in fact, today I'm proud to be the commissioner in charge of the Infrastructure Bureau, where we have PBOT, BES, and Water. And I will note that women lead those 3 major bureaus, and I am exceptionally proud to serve alongside of them. All of that is a sign of how much progress we have made, but we must also remember that much work is left to be done, which is why I am proud to join you in declaring March 2024 to be Women's History Month here in Portland, Oregon. So thank you very much, and I see Commissioner Gonzalez has his hand up.
Thank you to Commissioner Rubio and Mayor Wheeler for bringing this proclamation forward. As we take this time to formally celebrate Women's History Month, I reflect on the women in my life. My mother, wife, daughters inspire me every day. I want to acknowledge their strength, intelligence, and grace. To the women who I work with in my office, Edna, Cassidy, Grace, and Grace too, I see the hard work, passion, and dedication you show daily to make our office and the city the best it can be. In addition, I want to honor the strength and bravery of Portland's female first responders, whose resilience in the face of adversity is an example of everyday heroism. I'm proud to be part of a state that upholds a woman's right to bodily autonomy, is critical in protecting the dignity, safety, and respect of all women. May we continue to honor all the amazing and inspiring women who work and live here in Portland by recognizing their contributions to our city, state, and our nation. And may we maintain a Portland that honors and safeguards them. Thank you.
Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps, presiding officer, and thank you so much, Commissioner Rubio, for bringing this forward along with the mayor. Women have made significant strides in our recent history, and yet, while we celebrate these achievements, we must also acknowledge the ongoing challenges women face. In Portland, the wage gap persists. In 2022, women earned up to 89.2 of what men made, a figure that drops to around 75% and lower when you bring in women of color due to various factors. This is just in Portland. In our city, women are disproportionately represented in low-wage, part-time, temporary positions. Motherhood significantly influences poverty levels among women, compounded by their often primary role in childcare, parent care, and leading to income loss or unemployment during those necessary care periods. Furthermore, women in Portland are disproportionately affected by domestic violence, which frequently leads to homelessness after leaving abusive relationships. The fentanyl crisis adds another layer of complexity with women, particularly mothers, primary caregivers facing greater obstacles in accessing treatment due to the inability to leave their dependents for extended periods. As leaders, we must strive for better data, getting into the weeds of this data, and be informed by decision-making to dismantle these barriers. I want to also acknowledge those who I get to work with on a daily basis. I want to acknowledge Kelly Torres, Jill Swade, and Alexa Croft for their dedication. I also want to acknowledge the leader of the Parks and Recreation Bureau, Director Adina Long. I want to also acknowledge Lisa Pellegrino, who leads the Portland Children's Levy. And Commissioner Rubio, I want to extend my gratitude for your leadership. I sometimes forget I don't know what it would be like to be the only woman with 4 other men on the council, and you wear it well. And I also want to thank you for your friendship. And I like the theme of acknowledging mothers, so off the cuff, I just want to acknowledge my mom. She passed away many years ago It's been 30 years now, but she's in my heart always. And I think anyone that's lost their mother can relate to that. She had a really troubled life, which I didn't hear about till I was older, but her first 12 years of her life, she was passed around, 14 years of her life, she was passed around to 12 different households. And it was before we really had a decent system, if you will. She was reunited with her father, birth father at age 14, and her goal in life was to have a really big family and provide stability. Well, she did a pretty good job. She had 8 children, and we always had food, and we always were cared for. And there were always at least 1 or 2 other people in our house that were kicked out of their homes, and so my mom took them in. So she walked her talk. When I was 14, she went back to college, and she got her degree from University of Portland and became a social worker. And so I'm just so inspired by the life that my mom lived, and although it's been 30 years, I carry her compassion in my heart daily, and I just want to, funny, I'm getting choked up over this. I don't get to talk about my mother very often in public. Anyway, I'm really proud that I was raised by someone with such values. And I want to end by saying this is really important that we take a breath in the month of March and acknowledge the power of women in our community and all that we can do to move forward for justice and to make our city a more lovable place. Thanks.
And Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps, and thanks, colleagues. As we honor Women's History Month, I'm reminded of the indomitable spirit and the many contributions that women have made that have shaped not only the city, but of course the entire world. This month is our opportunity to take a step back and think about the resilience, the creativity, the leadership of women here. Those who've made a lasting impact on the city of Portland. And Commissioner Mapps, I appreciate you doing what you've done in prior years, which is go through and remind us of the history of those who've come before and who've helped chart the path forward. Because women's stories and contributions are so vital to the continued success of our community, this is an opportunity for us to recommit ourselves to fostering a Portland where every woman's contribution is valued and their potential is limitless. Commissioner Rubio, I believe you have the honor on behalf of the council of reading the proclamation plus any other comments you'd like to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'll start the proclamation. Whereas March is Women's History Month and the National Women's History Alliance has designated the theme this year to be Women Who Advocate for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And whereas the courageous advocacy of people that identify as women for practical goals such as equity, diversity, and inclusion serve as a beacon of inspiration for all individuals and communities. And whereas inclusion leads to improved decision-making through diverse viewpoints and increases women's job satisfaction as women feel more valued. And whereas advocating for greater equity, diversity, and inclusion for women creates a workplace and social organization environment where women have equal opportunities, targeted mentorships, development programs, and are actively supported. And whereas in 2024, we honor the women who have tirelessly worked to dismantle barriers, challenge prejudices, and create opportunities for all individuals, regardless of their background, and attacks against diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and training in our institutions. And whereas this theme recognizes the invaluable contributions of women who have dedicated themselves to advocating for equity, diversity, and inclusion in all aspects of society. And whereas during Women's History Month, we honor the countless women in Portland who are on a journey to create a diverse and inclusive workplace. Women such as Taisha McCool Riley from Adapt to Impact at Civic Life, who are passionate and enthusiastic about empowering the voiceless and provide a safe space for all people. Or Molly Washington, former Deputy City Attorney, who advocates for contracting equity as the Chief Programs Officer at the National Association of Minority Contractors. Or Judith Mowry, with over 25 years in racial justice activism, conflict resolution, and restorative justice as a Deputy Director for the Office of Equity and Human Rights. Or Sheila Sylvester from OMF Citywide Training, who has inspired hundreds of employees to become mentors and servant leaders. Or Donna Hammond, former BES electrical planner, who learned that allies help her succeed along with her strength as interim director of Oregon Tradeswomen.
Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do hereby proclaim March of 2024 to be Women's History Month in Portland and encourage our communities and organizations to celebrate the achievements of women who have championed equity, diversity, and inclusion, and reaffirm our commitment to advancing these principles in our society. Let us continue to work together to build a more just, equitable, and inclusive world. And then it finishes with a quote, "It took me quite a long time to develop a voice, and now that I have it, I'm not going to be silent," unquote. That's Madeleine Albright, 1937 to 2022, United States Secretary of State.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I want to thank the mayor, Commissioner Rubio, our invited guest, and staff who helped make this possible. The item, of course, moves forward. Thank you so much. Keelan, can we go to the next time certain that we have today, which I believe is item 239?
Authorize letter of agreement with the Portland Police Association for the Portland Police Bureau to create a new public order team with expertise in providing police services during public order events.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I believe this item comes out of your shop.
Correct. Colleagues, as you'll recall, in August of 2023, Council accepted an independent assessment of the city's response to the 2020 protests and riots from Independent Monitor LLC. That assessment put forward a set of recommendations to help us ensure the city's response to public order events going forward is consistent with constitutional standards and national best practices. Under that guidance, PPB has been working diligently to rebuild its training and ultimately its team to attain those goals. Part of that work includes collaboration with our labor partners to recognize the training and skills necessary to do this important work effectively. The letter of agreement before us today is reflective of our shared interest in supporting both community voice and community safety, particularly during this election year. Here to tell us more about this LOA and our efforts, we have Deputy Chief Fromm, Commander Franz Schoening, and Heidi Brown. Welcome.
Close enough. Thank you. I'll turn the floor over to our invited guest or staff.
Is the mic on? Okay. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council. I'm here on behalf of Labor Relations to present this ordinance to you. Labor Relations is seeking council authorization for this letter of agreement with the Police Association and the Police Bureau to create a new public order, a new public order team that has expertise in providing public police services during public order events. This is, as the mayor stated, a mutually beneficial agreement for both the Police Bureau and the Police Association. And the ordinance seeks, the ordinance seeks a 6% premium pay incentive to attract high-quality officers with specific expertise in providing those services during public order events. The fiscal impact of this agreement is an estimated $380,000 of ongoing annual expenses, and that would be absorbed by the Police Bureau's annual operating budget. And I will defer questions to Deputy Chief Fromm and the Chief Deputy Attorney, Heidi Brown.
Is that the end of the formal presentation?
Briefly, Commissioner and Mayor, if I could. Good morning, everybody. Heidi Brown, I'm Chief Deputy City Attorney. And I just wanted to comment briefly and follow up. The mayor did speak about this. As we all know, there was a critical assessment of the 2020 protests done by an outside entity. That was part of the agreement we made with the Department of Justice in resolving some concerns they had post-2020. And one of the recommendations they made was not only that we ensure that we have a team of police officers that responds to public order events and protests to ensure that they are acting in concert with people's First Amendment rights and also protecting to the extent that there's risk to people and to property, that they're there for that. And there is an association that has made recommendations for training for police officers for public order events. And the recommendation from our outside entity that performed the critical assessment was that our police bureau and this team receive the advanced training for public order policing. And that includes 96 hours of training. So the Bureau has been working, as Anne Marie stated, to put together this public order team that will require quite a bit of specialized training. And this agreement, this letter of agreement, will recognize that training similar to CERT, to the explosive device unit, and other teams that perform some real specialized work that requires additional and extensive training. And this premium pay is consistent with the same premium pay that's given for these other types of specialty units. I don't know if Chief Frome has anything to add, but I'll turn it over to him. And of course, we'll answer any questions at any time.
Chief, anything you want to add at this moment?
Just good morning, and for the record, it's Mike Frome. I am the Deputy Chief of the Portland Police Bureau. Commander Channing couldn't be with me today, so I'm here on my own. What I can say is this team has a lot of eyes looking at them. The public is watching. Internally within the Police Bureau, we are watching. The landscape of crowd management has completely changed since 2020. We have changes in Oregon law. We have a lot of changes in our policies. As we build this team, we need to get the best people that we can get in place, pay them according to the responsibility and specialty that we are going to expect of them, and move forward. And I know that the thought of a new public order team can be very frightening or disconcerting to a lot of people. I think we're going to have a lot of eyes, both internal and external, that are going to watch us as we build this. You will be hearing about this team moving forward, coming out of our PIO's office. We're going to be very open about what type of training they're going to get. You will eventually get to meet some of the team members. We're going to talk about the uniforms. We're going to talk about the way that we're going to communicate with crowds in a better way moving forward. I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Colleagues, I'm sure there are some questions that we might have, but I suspect there might be some public testimony on this one. Keelan, is there anyone signed up to testify or ask questions on this from the
We have
public?
6 people signed up.
All right, why don't we go to those folks and then we can open it up to a broader dialogue.
First up, we have Paul Frazier.
Paul, is Paul online or in person?
Paul was going to join in person. Paul Frazier.
It looks like Paul's online.
There we go.
Hi, Paul, welcome. Name for the record, 3 minutes.
Okay, great. Hi, my name's Paul Frazier. Apologize about the messy background here. I am concerned about the creation of this team and worry about the impact it will have on our city and community. I appreciate the testimony that was given earlier about that eyes are on this team and that crowd management has changed. And so my question is, why didn't that happen during 2020? And what lessons have changed and learned? I guess I don't have trust, and I'm looking for how has anything changed? Concerned to see in the Oregonian article, great to see there will be training. There's no training listed on what that training will be. So there feels like there is a dearth of specifics here. My experience with this team was during some of the 2020 protests. There were police vans driving around and throwing flashbangs and tear gas at people actively leaving a protest. I actually successfully reached a settlement with the city for $3,000 because y'all tear gassed a residential neighborhood in North Portland, shooting tear gas towards a Shell gas station. The wind blew it south. I experienced that tear gas inside my home and outside when I went to render aid. And then also watching tear gas being deployed on a crowd shouting, "Who do you protect? Who do you serve?" when the police realized they had accidentally left a squad car inside of that police. That was widely reported in the media, several photojournalists for mainstream accounts question the use of force in that incident. I also question bonus pay for this versus programs like Portland Street Response that we can't seem to yet again fully fund, fully deploy. Also 911 call times. So I question the motivations. The questions that I'd love for council to answer before we do this is, what will the training be? What will selection look like? Will we be assessing for composure, for empathy? What will the rules of engagement be around tear gas, around use of force? How will we measure success of this team? And what will the accountability look like to council and to the citizens of Portland?
Thank you so much, Paul. We appreciate your testimony. And as we, before the days we're done, the questions you have are also some of the questions I hope to pose. Thank you very much. Keelan, do we have anyone else signed up to testify?
Next up, we have Athul Acharya.
Athul. Welcome. Name for the record, 3 minutes.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Athul Acharya. I am counsel of record in the Index Newspapers Against City of Portland case, but I'm here in my capacity as a private citizen, a resident of this city, and a taxpayer. In the summer of 2020, tens of thousands of Portlanders came out to protest police brutality and the police murder of George Floyd. In response, the Police Bureau's riot squad met them with more police brutality. Night after night, the riot squad blanketed the city in tear gas, shot and beat innocent protesters, and targeted journalists who were recording their misconduct. When one of their number faced just a smidgen of accountability, the entire squad resigned in disgrace rather than face that accountability. And let's call this proposal what it is. It's hiring those people back and giving them a raise. That would be an execrable waste of public funds, and it would be throwing good money after bad. The taxpayers of the city have already had to pay out the victims of the riot squad's police violence from last time round. $81,000 to a social worker that the riot squad slammed into a concrete wall and broke her wrist. $50,000 to a journalist who was brutally beaten for recording the riot squad's misconduct. $300,000 to another beaten protester, over $1 million in the Don't Shoot Portland case. And other litigation is ongoing. More settlements or verdicts are still to come. Commissioner Gonzalez, this is the best trained crowd control unit in the country that you were talking about on Twitter? The truth is they're a liability, and they're an embarrassment, and they're a disgrace. They're the reason that we had months and months of public disorder. Every night, they proved the protesters' point. Every night, they gave the protesters something new to protest about the next day. In the real world, these people wouldn't be getting a raise. They'd be getting a performance improvement plan. They'd be being managed out. This proposal is misguided and misjudged, and I urge you to reject it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Keelan, do we have any more testimony?
Mr. Mapps?
Sure, no, of course, Commissioner Gonzalez. Athul, please, if you'd like, I think Commissioner Gonzalez would maybe have some questions or comments.
I just want to correct the record on one piece. The city of Portland has settled 84 settlements for approximately $2.7 million thus far. City of Denver has already awarded $14 million for what occurred in 2020. The city of Seattle has approved $10 million to just 50 protesters. The city of Austin has settled for $14 million. Our team did exceptionally well in exposed to an unprecedented civil unrest in terms of number of days it lasted in the city of Portland. So you're entitled to your opinion and your interpretation of what occurred in 2020, but given the situation, Portland police performed quite well in impossible situations. And this, in terms of cost to the city, we've done much better than parallel sized cities. Let's leave it at that.
Briefly.
We've got good lawyers, Commissioner, but that doesn't say anything about our police. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Keelan, I suspect we have some other folks signed up to testify. I see Mark on the line.
Mark Porras, Portland Cop Watch.
Welcome, Mark.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Mark Porras. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm with the group Portland Cop Watch. We appreciate the opportunity to testify on this letter of agreement between the Portland Police Association and the city. This emergency ordinance states that approval of the agreement would require $380,000 of additional ongoing costs, and without more city funding to cover the crowd unit, cuts might need to be made to other parts of the Bureau's budget. Since the report from the Independent Monitor LLC was released last August, we've been prepared for the Bureau to form a new crowd control unit. We were not prepared for the bargaining unit representing rank and file officers and their immediate supervisors to demand a 6% pay premium simply for being named to the unit, regardless of time spent doing crowd control work. Council is only talking about this today because the entire rapid response team resigned from their positions in 2021 when one officer was indicted for excessive use of force. The letter of agreement does not contain any assurances that the newly forming public order team won't resign en masse again when one of their own is indicted for excessive use of force. We wonder whether the previous team would have stayed on had they been offered more incentive funds. The stated purpose of the ordinance is to provide a premium pay incentive to attract officers with expertise in crowd control to serve on the newly renamed public order team. We've pointed out to you, various advisory groups, and the COCL that a recent PPB plan on crowd control listed Sergeant Charles Elam as a team leader and lead instructor for the public order team. Sergeant Elam's actions led to a settlement of nearly $14,000 last year for violence against a member of the media, and he was also named as possibly having contributed to putting the Dirty Hippie slide in the Rapid Response Team training slide deck. The same training needs assessment lists Commander Craig Dobson as a team leader for crowd training. Dobson's the only other person who recalled seeing the Dirty Hippie slide around the time it was added to the slide deck, and he did not report it at the time. In their report on PPB's response to the 2020 protests, IMLLC stated that the new crowd control team must be rigorously scrutinized by PPB executives, overseen by Portland's new oversight agency, and transparently introduced to the public. We imagine they were thinking the new oversight system would not be derailed by the drivers of today's ordinance, the PPA, filing a ballot measure to weaken the board's purview. Hopefully those suggestions from the experts get instituted, but more importantly, this team must only be staffed with individuals who understand that their job is not to brutalize or disparage those whose political views differ from their own, but rather to ensure that all Portlanders are able to safely express their First Amendment rights. At a time when every city bureau except Fire, BOEC, and PPB are required to submit a budget with cuts of 5%, you're being asked to give riot cops 6% incentive pay to do work they're already being paid well to do, with starting salaries listed at $79,000 to $113,000 a year. This contract should have been negotiated in public sessions like the 2020-21 contract. Officers whose actions lead to lawsuits that cost the city money should have that money deducted from this incentive pay. In other words, the city should add a clause that says the premium rate will be prorated downward based on liability claims caused by the individual officer. And as I noted before, PPA members should be required to sign a document that they will not resign if one of their officers gets called out for abusing their power. And finally, PPA President Aaron Schmautz signed the LOA over 2 weeks ago, yet this is presented as an emergency ordinance with no time for the community to review it. Thank you.
Thank you. Keelan, is there any other public testimony on this?
Yes. Next up, Tracy Molina.
Welcome, Tracy.
Right here.
Sure. Name for the record, no need to share your address, 3 minutes.
Hi, Amasi, Kwalitonali. My name is Tracy Molina. My calendar name is Koska Kwatli. I'm from Nawa people, but I grew up where all the indigenous people who used to live here were forcibly removed from here so you guys could have Portland. My son is enrolled in the Confederated Tribes of Siletz. It's a tribe that raised me, and I have a lot of relatives that are enrolled there as well as Grand Ron. I've lived in Oregon since I was 5, so moved here in the 70s. I served in the United States Navy. I served in a combat zone for this country. I have a master's degree in social work. And I have experienced violence from these people that you're talking about. But I've also experienced some professionalism from them too. And I was employed by the Department of Justice once for a year. And I became familiar with the special teams there, which they called SORT. They all have different names, but they pretty much do the same thing. So I know I also had to work with them in their extended training, like the amount of training they have to go through and practice is a lot. So I could see, I'm just laughing because people are going to hate me saying this. I could see a reason why you would want to pay them more, because they're putting in a lot of hours of training and practicing over and over, you know, how to kill people and all that stuff. I first became familiar with this team in 2018. I was just trying to film a protest, and this has already been settled, and everything I'm going to say is on video, so anyone could look it up. But August 4th, 2018, a lot of us were attacked, and a lot of us were retreating. And I was kind of fresh from Standing Rock, and I was really surprised to be seeing that in Portland, cops shooting at people who are retreating. So I just think there should be a lot more questions asked. I mean, just 12 months ago, we found out that the Department of Justice survey indicated that Portland police still have a white supremacy problem. And no one's bringing that up. I haven't heard, there hasn't even been media follow-up on that. So how are we supposed to trust these guys who, one, have white supremacy values, anti-gay values? I'm not going to go over much more, but I think I deserve like a little bit of extra time, especially since Ted Wheeler lied about me in the newspaper and I never got a chance to defend myself. I just want to say that, how can you guys all sit here and talk about Indigenous this and Indigenous that, and you don't do land acknowledgements? And I have this in evidence. I have evidence to back this up. Portland Police has been destroying our religious items since 2018. I don't understand why we can't get, I don't understand why they get to break laws against us. And one law, I'm almost done, and one law that they continuously break is called the American Indian Freedom of Religious Act.
Okay, Tracy, I really appreciate your testimony. I have let you
I don't
go.
want to stay and talk, I don't want to stay and hear your words because I don't like lies. And I'm talking from my heart, so.
I hear your frustration, and thank you for being here today. Keelan, can we go to the next person who signed up to testify?
Next up is Alex Dawes.
Welcome, Alex.
Alex was going to join online. Alex Dawes, okay. Next we have Kimberly Goheen Albon online.
Welcome, Kimberly. Are you there? Heard
Yes.
something.
Good job, citizen speakers. Good job for speaking up. Mr. Wheeler, if you were sick from the COVID jab, I would recommend getting some detox immunity teas and use your honey and start a good program that way, as it's a bioweapon. On addressing this agenda, what can a standing up family?
Kimberly, at least in the room, you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if you're on a cell phone or something. You might try to move closer. We'll give it a couple of seconds to see if you come back. Kimberly, we can't hear you, which is unfortunate. If we don't, I would encourage you to reach out and submit. Or Keelan, do you have any suggestion? What do we do here?
Yeah, it looks like they dropped off. They might have lost connection. Let's see. Yeah, they can try and get reconnected, or they can submit written testimony.
All right, Kimberly, we seem to have some connectivity challenges here. If you can get back online, we'll try to squeeze you in. In the meantime, I'd like to invite staff up in case my colleagues have any questions. I know I will have one or two. First, colleagues, any questions, comments based on staff presentation or public testimony? No? I have two quick questions, which I'd love to hear staff reflect on. From public testimony, I basically heard two buckets of questions. One was, what will the training look like? And the other is, what's the justification for the premium pay? Can we take both of those in turn and just kind of flesh out the logic behind what's happening here? Why don't we start with, what does the training look like?
I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Chief Rome.
Yeah, I'll handle that one. Like right off the bat, anyone that is going to be on this team is going to need to attend at least a 40-hour public order policing training that is put on by the state of Oregon through the Department of Police Standards and Training, DPSST. Once they've had that, then they will start doing localized training that we'll put together here in Portland. And this is going to be everything from how do you use your respirator correctly to how do you care for your uniform to dynamics of crowd, psychology and theory, communicating with crowds. I can't list everything because honestly, it is still in the process of being developed.
Sure.
But let me talk about the way we develop this training. The National Tactical Officers Association, NTOA, which is the organization that is identified in the IMLC's recommendations to the city about this future team, they have created a set of standards for all public order teams to aspire to in order to be at various levels, like the top level for larger cities down to smaller groups. We are going to try to be at that top level, and that requires that they're going to have at least 8 hours of training every month in order to meet their minimum of 96. Now, I have a feeling we will be actually providing more than that because in addition to the monthly, I would expect at some point there's going to be some sort of like at least another week where we pull them aside and allow them just to focus on everything they've been doing up to that point. The training is developed by subject matter experts. Some of them have previous experience with the public order teams. Some of them do not. They work in conjunction with the city attorney's office to make sure that everything that we've learned from the lawsuits that have been brought against us out of 2020, any settlements we've made, changes in Oregon law. There's been massive changes in Oregon law about what police can or can't do in crowds. Rules about using gas and pepper spray are completely different. Rules about kinetic impact projectiles, they call them KIPs. That's what people will think of as rubber bullets or less lethal rounds. All that will be looked at through the city attorney as well as our SMEs to put together something that is then going to go through an approval process within our training division where in addition to some of the lieutenants out there, eventually the director of training, Dr. Rodriguez, will look at it in terms of is this going to be delivered in a way that is conductive with adult learning. She's not an expert in all things policing at this point, so I expect that if she sees something on the paper that says like this sounds wrong, she's going to push back on the SMEs and she's going to demand that they prove where this is established as best practice. So those are some of those levels. Within the training division, we have the Training Advisory Council that I know has a subgroup dealing with crowd management. I saw some emails recently where they're ready to go and ready to start providing some input from the public members that have joined into the Training Advisory Council. Once that's all done, we still have the Department of Justice. They are very keen to see what we are going to be teaching this team. So I think that I think that's going to be my capsule for you on the training, and I'm happy to talk to you about like why we need to give them the 6%.
Thank you very much. And that's my second question. The second bucket of questions that I think I heard from the public today has to deal with the pay premium. Is that normal? Do we pay people who work on the bomb squad a premium? What's the motivation here?
That's right, Commissioner. There are certain specialty teams that do work that requires a lot of training, that has a certain amount of risk involved. And based on that, we have as a city have deemed it appropriate to provide a premium pay. And as I noted in my opening comments, this premium pay is the same as the one that we give for those other types of specialty pays.
Can you give me a couple examples? Like, what do we pay? What qualifies for specialty?
I'll be happy to answer this.
Yeah, thanks.
all members of our CERT team, SWAT team, receive 6% pay. Members of our narcotics and organized crime receive a 6% pay premium. All of our motor officers on like traffic that are on motorcycles, they receive a 6% premium pay. Everyone assigned to the bomb squad, it gets a 6% premium pay. These are all positions that have a great deal of specialization. And in the past, we had always called it hazard pay because the idea was they were doing something more dangerous. I think that's evolving over time into specialty pay.
All right, thank you. I may have another question or two, and I'm told that the member of the public who wanted to testify has been able to connect again. But first, Commissioner Rubio has been very patient. So Commissioner Rubio, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. They're probably quick ones too. The Independent Monitor LLC. So this is something we have to do, and so along with that, there comes the recommendations about strengthened and clarified internal controls and directives for this event. Can you talk about why these skills are specifically needed for those additional directives as well?
Just in terms of why do we need additional training for the team?
We need this in order to do, it impacts other recommendations as well. So I want to get a sense of that, how that plays out.
Yes, I mean, we need to build a team. That's part of one of the recommendations. One of the other recommendations is that we introduce the team in a way that the public understands what their role and what their expectations are. Can't do that until we have the team. As far as our internal processes, that's what we're working on now. We are developing, within the Police Bureau, we have directives, which are our like big rules. You can find them online. And then we also have standard operating procedures that kind of fill in the blanks for the directives. We are in the process of redoing every SOP that ever existed about crowd management to ensure that it has been looked at by the training division, been looked at by the attorneys, and is completely in compliance with everything that we need. Once all those are in place, that's when the team can actually start becoming more public facing and we can actually explain what they're doing.
Okay. And then like the bomb squad and like the CERT team who have extra work in addition to their work, is this similar that this team also has extra work?
Yes, every time that there is an identified possible need to have a crowd management team in place, they would be notified. You know, the other thing that I'd like to point out is that RRT was not always just conceived to be a riot team or a public order team. When they were first developed, they were an all hazards team, and they were trained on how to do search and rescue. Some of them, I believe, had training on how to do inspections, like if we had a catastrophic earthquake, that they could go and take a look at buildings and bridges. This team will probably continue to have that type of work as well. And so what we'd like to do is be able to use them in not just public order, but be able to use them anytime that there is an emergency that threatens the city, be it a wildfire out on Powell Butte or something along those lines. I definitely expect there to be an increase in their work.
Thank you.
Commissioner, if I could add to that.
Sure.
Just a couple of things. One, I wanted to note for folks that the Independent Monitor LLC's report, that the lead of that team is a civil rights attorney who does independent monitoring for a variety of jurisdictions nationally. And that was one of the reasons that the Department of Justice and the city selected them. So they have a lot of expertise in this area and had done some assessments of other jurisdictions who had protests during 2020 that had turned violent and concerns around the policing that occurred during that time. That report is on trending topics on the City of Portland's GovQA website, so if anybody wants to look at it, as well as the city's response, acknowledging those recommendations and agreeing to adopt those recommendations. And I also think it'd be helpful for folks to remember that we're adopting body-worn cameras. And those will be another tool we'll have available. There are state laws that impact when those can be on during a protest. So we will, of course, be complying with those state laws. But I just want to help assure people that there are other things in place in addition to numerous, as Deputy Chief Frum mentioned, there were a number of law changes to the law that occurred as a result of 2020. And PPB has already been trained on those and has been working under those since that time. But this team will receive more in-depth training on those laws as well. So I just thought it might be helpful for folks to be aware of that.
Thank you, Heidi. That is helpful. And I see Commissioner Ryan has his hand up.
Thank you. Good to see all of you today. I appreciate it. I was hoping the Director Rodriguez would be here, who heads up the training. So I am disappointed I can't ask her directly. So because she's not here, I'll ask you to help channel her. To me, this is about an investment in adult education and training. And when you make that investment, it's a very important one. And it also is more challenging to do than, say, people I know that educate children and youth. Adults tend to be more stubborn, and we all know adults' behavior change takes more work. So my question is, what would Director Rodriguez say about how the training's going? What would she say about what's new and different today than when one was doing this type of training 5 years ago? I just want to get more into what this investment's about, which is training of our officers.
Yeah, I'll help with that. So none of the training has actually started yet. We're still in the process of building it. But I think what the director would tell you is that this time she's there. We have a much more robust system in place to review the training, to make sure that it is absolutely correct before we actually start giving it to the people. Our RT training in the past was given it in time when the people that were putting it together were largely told, put this training together and go do it. And there was not the same level of oversight that we are going to have with it on this one. And so I think that's what she's going to tell you is different this time, is that it will be monitored through the training division. And if it is not working the way it's supposed to, she has the ability to just say, you can't do this training.
And when do you suspect that this would start, assuming this passes? What's the implementation look like?
The basic, if I remember correctly, we're hoping to have people down at this basic school, the 40-hour class I talked about that is state-sponsored. That is going to be, I think, in May. It's April or May. We will start doing our individual training after that. So by June, July, that's where you're going to start seeing some of those things coming out. I don't have the exact training calendar set up yet because as of right now, we still don't actually have any approved training all the way through the DOJ in order to say that.
And this complex work to protect the First Amendment, obviously there's a lot of people concerned because we're in an election year and there will be that need. In 2020, what I recall is how much capacity it took to do the crowd management. Won't have opinions on what happened then, we've talked about that enough. But we all know that challenged us to provide public safety in some of our neighborhoods because most of the police were downtown doing this type of work or wherever the protests were. My point is explain how the regional focus and how that could work. So how we partnered with our regional public safety units.
Sure. Chief Day and I are currently in the process of completing basically an intergovernment agreement called a mutual aid compact within Multnomah County. So we've been working with the sheriff, with the Port of Portland, with the city of Gresham to get an agreement that if there is a time when any of the municipalities or agencies just need help, that we're able to reach out to them. And it's not going to be specifically for crowd management purposes. It's going to be the city of Portland. We will take care of crowd management on our own, but we will ask our partners to, can you please have some cars come into the neighborhoods so that the waits aren't as long and so that we don't have to worry about not being able to get a car to someone who needs help, like in the middle of the night.
So you wouldn't insert someone from a neighboring municipality to do the frontline crowd control specialty work because they didn't go through the training.
Correct.
You'd put them into the roles that they have training in.
Yes, exactly. And then, you know, the Oregon State Police has their mobile response team, MRT. We have reached out to them in the past. They might be able to come down and help us with crowd management if we needed to. I think the next focus that at least the Portland Police Bureau and the City of Portland is going to do is shoring up the ability to have just regular police officers come into the city to do regular police work and leave the crowd management to those that have the highest level of training.
And to summarize, reveal that you successfully engaged in this training, difficult training. When would we know that we have the capacity based on how many people go through it? What's our forecast in terms of, again, implementation?
We should know by April or May how many people we have to put into there. I mean, our goal is to have up to 40 officers, about 8 sergeants, and a couple of lieutenants that are all willing, more or less about 50. Those will be divided out into smaller squads. We'll see what we get to sign up, and then we'll report back with what we've got.
Thank you, Chief Fromm. And I think it'd be fair that we have this dialogue in May, perhaps, to see how the implementation's going.
I very much agree. I have one quick question that I'd like to put on the table before, number one, we see if Kimberly's still on the line, and number two, we go to a vote. As a policymaker here, it seems like the choice for me and my colleagues on council is either moving forward with creating the specialty team or the counterfactual, which I guess is not creating, doing nothing in this space. Maybe it's to the chief. Why is it better to create a specialized team to deal with disorder versus what we have with the status quo?
Well, the status quo right now is that every member of the Portland Police Bureau has received refresher training on what we call mobile field force tactics, which are basically how to get together, how to form lines, how to do very elementary things when you're interacting with a crowd. That was a huge lift to get people essentially like 2 days of training plus some ongoing. I would compare the reason that we need the specialized team is the reason that we need like a specialized tactical team like CERT, in that while all police officers can do some things to a certain point, there comes a point where the amount of training that you need is simply impractical to apply to everyone within the police bureau. And that if we have a dedicated, public order team, our expectations of what they're going to be able to go in to accomplish within the within the boundaries established by our directives and by Oregon law, we're going to have much better results. That is our goal.
Well, thank you. So that's the promise of this particular program is if we actually create a specialty team which is trained to deal with public disorder situations, we'll both be able to do a better job of keeping the peace and protecting First Amendment rights versus our relatively limited capabilities at the moment. Is that's essentially the choice, Heidi? You're leaning in.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think the reason why the independent group that made this recommendation coming out of 2020 was to ensure that this high level of training occurs, and that then the folks who are on this team understand in a little more in-depth manner how best to encourage people engaging in their First Amendment rights, and then also protecting property and people during that process. Most of our protests do not end up violent at all, and so that's wonderful. And but the times when they do, that team has that right training to keep their focus on what needs to be done without invading people's First Amendment rights. And I think that's what's really critical. I would also note that the Department of Justice might bring us in for a breach of the settlement agreement were we to not stand up a public order team of some sort at PPB.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Colleagues, any more questions before we move, number one, to see if Kimberly is still online? I'm seeing no questions from my colleagues. Keelan, is Kimberly on the line?
Yes.
Kimberly, welcome back. Name for the record, 3 minutes, please.
Thank you for giving me back my 3 minutes. Kimberly Goheen, Elbon Life citizen of Clark County, Washington, your sister county over there. So I'll start over again in addressing this agenda. What can a God-loving patriot standing up for God, family, and country at a grassroots level say when I, for me, for one, feel victimized, discriminated against, and with possible concerns of life threatening being a concern for me, while I exert my first citizens' rights to the First Amendment. So with God's armor on, I want to suggest that even though this agenda seems just and sound, and it's called a public order agenda, I remember back 3 years ago when violent riots took place here in Oregon, in Portland, Oregon. I don't know if they were called leftists or what you want to call them, but they were not stopped. They were not godly patriots or concerned citizens assembling as our forefathers warned us to do when government rules over the citizens and do not acknowledge that we the people are the government. We are your boss, and when we the people stand up against big government, this agenda may deem a citizens' assembly of patriots and concerned citizens a violent riot. And that is my point and great concern, to make citizens aware that this agenda will and possibly be used by force from the government to suppress the constitutional rights we have to assemble peacefully against government rule, and I consider us in an assembly as a violent riot. This agenda, I want the police officers to understand that we, the people, use our hard-earned tax dollars to put food on their table as they serve the people, and I believe that they're under God. However, I want to let people know also that I've spoke before about this, that Portland, Salem, Eugene, Olympia, Vancouver, Washington, and over 400 cities across America are following actively the United Nations, which does not follow the Constitution. And that's why we have all of these problems and why they're allowed to be done, because cities that are sanctuary cities, such as Portland and Vancouver, have to follow that agenda to, be the socialist and Marxist form of governments that they are. So also, I want to say to all immigrants here, if you've moved here from a current government that you were from, please notice that our local governments are turning to the ruling over we the people, the American citizens, as your country may have done. So we don't want a government that rules over us. We live under God and stand for the American Constitution, and you must adopt and respect our heritage and values under God. Amen. Your celebration is to be in a free nation that I stand for, to keep America free with liberty and justice to all. We stand against the criminal.
Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate your testimony and your patience today. We're out of time now, but you have very much been heard, and we appreciate you joining us today on this important topic. Colleagues, any more questions or comments before we call the for a vote? Hearing none, Keelan, can we call the roll?
Rubio.
So per the recommendations of Independent Monitor LLC, we're required to create a specialized public order team. My team and I have thoroughly reviewed where we are with the 12 recommendations that came out of that report. And we're watching and monitoring the progress towards developing this team, that it's well-trained, and specifically have been assured that it centers on the public's First Amendment rights and directives that are clear and with strong internal controls. I greatly understand and I hear, the trepidation and lack of trust from testifiers and other community members. But the fact is that we do need to put this team together, and I do believe that everyone's working very hard to ensure that the officers are skilled and working with the right types of engagement with Portlanders, and that we're equipped with effective practices so that we're learning from the past and incorporating that into this training, and so that there's the leadership and the support needed for events moving forward. I, for one, who deeply cares about our First Amendment rights, want our officers to have this specialized training and incorporate prior learnings and the new rules that have come online since 2020. I support this compensation to require this specialized skill and roles precisely because we do have greater expectations of skills and engagement for these situations going forward, and because a complete public safety system has the right people for every role. So I vote aye.
Ryan.
Chief Rom, Anne Marie, and Heidi, thank you so much for the presentation and for also doing a lot of Q&A with all of us. It's an important topic. As I said before, changing adult behavior takes a persistent focus. Well, I'm a big supporter of training. And it takes a lot of humility and willingness, so the one receiving the training can be coachable and evolve. I enjoyed my brief conversation with trainer Director Rodriguez, as I mentioned earlier, and I am disappointed she's not here to be a part of this presentation, and would hope that we do include her, them in the future for future conversations on this topic. Based on questions of the trainer, I believe in this curriculum that has been developed for this specialized team, we must continue to be a city that leads in how to do this special work of our first responder professionals. It's very complex and difficult work. In a democracy, it's necessary because we must protect our First Amendment rights. And again, after diving into this item, I would be more concerned if we were not preparing our frontline professionals to do this specialized work, especially at this time. And the proper training for our law enforcement officers is the best way to protect all of us. In doing so, we must provide complete, ample training of the specialized group of public servants to ensure that everyone, and I do mean everyone, from the protester to the police officer to the nearby retail clerk and to the family walking down the street, is protected and safe. I vote aye.
Gonzalez.
I want to thank Mayor Wheeler for prioritizing these efforts, Labor Relations, the City Attorney's Office, the Police Bureau, and Portland Police Association for their work on recreating the public order team. The timing of this agreement is prudent given the risk of political violence in the upcoming election cycle. I believe strongly that we elected officials need to stand firmly beside our first responders, giving them the tools they need to keep themselves, our city, safe. It is important to remind how we got here. We saw in 2020, as our faced sustained riots whose length is unparalleled in modern U.S. history, according to the Independent Monitor's report. We saw how destructive political violence can be, both psychologically and economically. At different times, Portland Police was abandoned, our mutual network frayed, calls to state National Guard ignored, our neighbors unwilling to help because of perceived lack of political support for law enforcement. In 2020, we also saw a federal government attempting to score political points, adding substantial rhetorical fuel to the fire, and significantly escalating the level of street conflict. Our economy, reputation, and social fabric is still recovering from the political and violence inflicted through the summer of 2020. Many of our residents have suffered and are still suffering, especially our small businesses, downtown workers and residents, and first responders. We are on the upswing, but we are still vulnerable and cannot afford another setback as we saw in 2020. A failure to act would leave us susceptible to property damage, reputational harm, and exacerbate our exposure for protest-related litigation. We need a trained public order team in place because before the next election. Properly training a new team will require that each officer eventually receives 96 hours of training before being certified. The training is especially important because it will help those officers to distinguish between constitutionally protected free speech and political violence. I fully support every citizen's exercising the First Amendment rights, but I do not support and indeed will take measures to prevent political violence and illegal conduct that gutted Portland in the summer of 2020. Extremists on both sides of the political spectrum have and will protest the creation of a public order team. But we need to stand firm against extremism. I enthusiastically support the creation of the public order team as a necessary step to protect our community against political violence and destruction of our social fabric. I vote aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Wheeler.
First of all, I want to thank my colleagues for supporting this. Colleagues, as you'll recall, in August of 2023, Council accepted an independent assessment of the city's response to the 2020 protests and riots from Independent Monitor, LLC. And we've heard today about the importance of complying with the recommendations of the Independent Monitor. But beyond that, I also just want to acknowledge that having this team up and running, fully staffed and trained, is a must-have for the city of Portland. I want to thank all of those who gave the presentation today. I want to thank the good work that the Portland Police Bureau has been doing to implement the recommendations of the Independent Monitor Group, including policy changes, training development, and the important work of rebuilding our mutual aid partnerships. I'm very pleased with the progress that you've made and the commitment that I've seen to putting together a successful public event strategy. The specialty pay that's authorized by this agreement is aligned with other specialty units, including the motorcycle team, the bomb team, the CERT team, as well as others. I think it is entirely reasonable to ask people who are going to be taking on this difficult, taxing, and sometimes dangerous duty to also receive that kind of additional pay. It's also a recognition of the high expectations the members of this team will have to meet, including, as we've heard, substantial training and specialized skills that they'll need while engaging with community members during public events. We are all staunchly committed to this team's success in ensuring that all of the community members feel safe when public events take place. The success of this team is also an important aspect of the city's agreement with the Department of Justice, which is and continues to be an absolute priority for PPB as well as the city. I want to thank everyone who's been working together to ensure that we're ready to support public events with professionalism and ensure safe and positive outcomes for all concerned. A strong commitment to civic engagement and free expression of ideas is inextricably woven into the DNA of our city and indeed the Constitution of our nation. This is a point of pride for all of us, and justifiably so. I believe we all want to ensure that the spirit remains intact while also embracing our duty to provide a safe place for voices to be heard. Criminal destruction and violence is not free speech, and the difficult duty of finding out where that line rests is put on our frontline officers, those who will be the members of this unit. And so I want to thank them for their tireless work, for their hard work. I want to thank them for the training that they will undertake, for the understanding that they will have to have about how state law has changed and what the public's expectations are in terms of relentlessly protecting First Amendment rights to free speech, while at the same time drawing a hard line against criminal destruction and violence of any kind. I want to thank the good men and women who have volunteered for this critically important work and those of you who will choose to join in the near future. I vote aye.
And the item passes. Colleagues, what I'd like to do now is vote on the consent agenda and then take a brief break. So let's vote on the consent agenda so staff who are watching online can get off to their lunch. And then we'll come back and close out the rest of the items on the agenda for today. Keelan, has anything been pulled from the consent?
No.
Okay, let's call the roll on that.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Let's take a 6-minute break. We'll come back at 12:15. What do we? that some folks on council have. We're going to go out of order. We have an emergency item that we need to hear before we start to lose folks today. So Keelan, could you please call item 252?
Authorize a contract with Forest Restoration Incorporated, DBA Integrated Resource Management, for an estimated amount of $244,423 for arborist services.
Thank you, Keelan. Colleagues, this item comes to us from the Water Bureau. This ordinance authorizes an emergency contract with Forest Restoration, Inc. to provide arborist services to clear the right-of-way and complete work in compliance with land use conditions from Multnomah County. This contract is an emergency because some trees and shrubs in the right-of-way need to be removed for this project. It's important to remove these trees and shrubs before the start of bird migration and nesting season. In addition, the timing is critical to help us avoid delays that could affect the construction phase of this project. Keeping this project on schedule is necessary in order for the Portland Water Bureau to meet OHA mandated deadlines. In addition to that, the Bull Run filtration project is needed to comply with federal and state safe drinking water regulations and to remove the microorganism Cryptosporidium from our water supply. In order to comply with state and federal water quality rules, this facility must be online by September 2027, which I will remind you is just 41 months away from today. The Water Bureau has received an estimate for services from Forest Restoration, Inc. for about $244,000. This emergency declaration was approved for work to begin by the commissioner in charge, which would be me, and the Water Bureau director. Here to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Jody Inman, the chief engineer with the Water Bureau, and David Peters, our Bull Run filtration program manager. Do we have those folks online? We have Jode. I see a presentation. I am not seeing staff, nor can I hear anybody. If Jody, can you say something if you're presenting?
don't see Jody online.
All right. Jackson, if we could try to raise my crew, that'd be great. Thank you. In this situation, can I set this aside and move to something else? Is that what I should do in this situation? All right, we're going to hold this over. Is that the correct language that we should use? Colleagues, why don't we go to Commissioner Rubio's item 248. Could you read that one, please?
Call on Congress to renew and extend Affordable Connectivity Program funding in 2024 to ensure currently enrolled low-income Portland households can continue to access affordable high-speed internet.
Commissioner Rubio.
Okay. Colleagues, today we are bringing forward a resolution calling on Congress to renew and extend the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is set to end in April and has already ceased taking new applications. As you may be aware, the Affordable Connectivity Program was created by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law in 2021. This program is an essential tool to reduce the digital divide in America and ensure affordable access to broadband services to eligible households. Broadband services are no longer a luxury in our communities. People need this to stay connected to work, school, healthcare providers, and more. The end of this program puts over 23 million American families, including 36,500 in Portland, at risk of losing affordable internet services in May. There are currently efforts underway to provide additional funding, including the FCC administration's supplemental budget request for the ACP and the introduction of the bicameral Bipartisan Affordable Connectivity Program Extension Act. Our congressional delegation has long been supportive of this program, and we need to continue to express our support for any measure to renew and extend this program. This is why we are bringing this resolution forward today. We'll now hear from BPS Franchise Utility Program Manager Andrew Spear to talk about the status of the program. After his comments, we will welcome community advocates Allison Krause with Portland Community College and Sebastian Bishop from Hacienda CDC to talk more about how our community will be impacted if this program is discontinued. Andrew.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning. My name is Andrew Spear, and I'm the Franchise Utility Program Manager at the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability. The Affordable Connectivity Program, or ACP, is a program that has served communities across the country to increase access and affordability to the internet. In practice, the program provided direct offset to customers' monthly bills for internet service. Congress has had the opportunity for months now to reauthorize ACP funding to continue to fund the program's operations. However, that funding has not been approved, and the FCC, who administers ACP, has stopped taking new applicants, and the program will end at the end of April. Across the country, many different advocacy groups and local governments have been lobbying for the renewal of ACP through membership advocacy coalitions by the national organizations such as the U.S. Conference of Mayors, NATOA, and the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, just to name a few. The City of Portland has been directly involved with advocacy efforts with NATOA for the renewal of ACP. To date, other than advocacy efforts for renewal of ACP funding, there's been no other programs or dollars allocated to increase access and affordability to the internet at the federal level. As Commissioner Rubio noted, the importance of access to the internet is critical when we consider outcomes for healthcare, education, and housing for those in our community. ACP has been a critical tool to increase access to the internet and decrease equity gaps. We will now hear from community groups on the impacts of ACP for those they serve. I will now turn it over to Allison Krause with PCC. Thank you.
Good morning. Mayor Wheeler and Commissioners, for the record, my name is Allison Krause, and I'm the Senior Government Relations Manager at Portland Community College. I'm here today to testify in support of the Affordable Connectivity Program Resolution. PCC would like to express its gratitude to the Mayor and the Commissioners for their initiative in advancing this resolution and for their ongoing efforts to urge Congress to renew funding for the program. It's crucial to ensure that low-income households currently enrolled in this program can maintain access to affordable, high-speed internet. Broadband access is an important component of digital equity and inclusion. At PCC, we have digital navigators who act as trusted guides to address the whole digital inclusion process, from home connectivity, access to devices, and digital skills. For these navigators, the ACP was an important part of their toolkit. Without it, we are limited in our ability to provide affordable home broadband options to our students and community members. Digital equity is important for several reasons. First, education equity. Home broadband is associated with increased educational success, and this is especially true for underrepresented students. Second, community health. Community health is now influenced by digital literacy, and it is emerging as a significant social determinant of health. Access to telehealth services and health information online is becoming increasingly critical. Third, economic mobility. Research conducted by the National Skills Coalition indicates a growing demand for digital skills, with possession of these competencies correlating positively with greater earning opportunities. And finally, as artificial intelligence becomes more pervasive across various sectors and aspects of life, having foundational digital skills is increasingly important to ensure that the benefits of AI are accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or circumstances. For many, especially those in economically disadvantaged situations, the digital divide is a towering barrier to progress. This lack of access hinders participation in daily life. The implications are clear. Without digital access, a significant portion of our society is left behind and unable to tap into the vast reservoir of opportunities that the digital world offers. Education has long been regarded as a powerful force for equity, capable of bridging socioeconomic gaps and providing opportunities for advancement, regardless of one's background. However, to fulfill this promise, education now increasingly requires broadband access. In the wake of the pandemic, with a significant shift towards online learning and services, the need for the ACP is evident. Sustaining affordable broadband access is an essential component for supporting our students at PCC. I hope you will join PCC in supporting this resolution. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Rubio, do we have any, is that the end of your presentation? If it is, we can go to public testimony.
Is Sebastian?
I don't know if they've joined or not, or if they'll be online.
Hey, Sebastian, there he is.
I was using two separate computers for the different testimony. Sorry for the confusion.
Sure.
Thanks for
Name for the record, 3 minutes. Please.
My name is Sebastian Bishop. I'd like to thank Mayor Wheeler and Commissioner Rubio, members of the council, for introducing this resolution and giving me time to speak about this. I'm testifying on behalf of Hacienda CDC. The issue of broadband access and affordability is extremely important to Hacienda. In fact, I'm speaking to you today from one of Hacienda CDC's learning centers, where we provide education and access to technology to underserved communities. The affordable connectivity has been and continues to be fundamental to closing the digital divide for our community members. Home internet enables community members to access education, employment, social services, healthcare, and social connection. The digital divide existed prior to the pandemic and has only been accelerated since then, with a considerable amount of services moving online permanently. In my direct service experience, there's a diverse population of Portlanders that need the ACP to continue. Most of the people we assist with ACP applications are immigrants and people of color. These are communities who have been historically excluded from digital access, and the ACP has created a consistent lifeline for them to stay connected. This program has changed lives for thousands of Portlanders by putting them on a path to consistent internet use. Ending the ACP would end this consistency and add yet another barrier to digital access that community members already face. Just like how we need racial equity for vital resources like food, water, electricity, and housing, we need equity for the fundamental utility of home internet. Without the ACP, inequities for low-income immigrant and BIPOC communities would become more drastic. Fewer students would be able to consistently study at home. Career pathways and social services would be less accessible. Our most medically vulnerable community members will not be able to access healthcare. This resolution sends a strong message to our federal representatives that the ACP is vital to reducing these inequities here in Portland and should be continued. Thank you again for your leadership and your time.
Thank you very much. Keelan, is that the end of public testimony?
I thought Sebastian was an invited speaker.
Is that
I was
fine?
invited
Oh, okay. Do we have any public testimony on
We
this
do
item?
have one
Okay,
person
sorry,
signed up, Lena Aziz. was going to join us in person. Lena? Okay.
Is that the end of the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions or comments? Hearing none, why don't we call the roll?
Rubio?
I'd like to thank Andrew and Allison and Sebastian for being here and for helping advocate for this critical program. I'd also like to acknowledge our congressional delegation for their continued advocacy of critical programs like the Affordable Connectivity Program. I trust they will keep showing up fighting for our communities on this issue. Broadband is an essential service, and we need to make sure those who need help securing and affording have access to it, have it. We need Congress to understand its importance, and I'm happy to support sending this message. I vote aye.
Ryan?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Rumio, for bringing this to us today, and Andrew for your presentation. It's essential in today's world to have access to internet connection. Daily activities like schoolwork, bill payment may all require an internet connection. We're behind many countries in regards to this. I strongly hope that the 35,600 Portland households do not lose their affordable internet service. It's great to see the alignment between the city of Portland with our congressional delegation to have this necessary impact to deliver digital access, so the dream of economic mobility has hope. I vote aye.
Gonzalez?
Important program. I vote aye.
Apps?
Aye.
Wheeler?
I want to thank Commissioner Rubio for bringing forward this important item. The Affordable Connectivity Program has helped approximately 36,000 Oregon families. It's provided over $115 million in access to high-speed internet. I share my colleagues' desire to urge Congress to renew and extend the funding through 2024. And I thank them as well for the incredible benefits this program has already provided to date. I firmly believe that Portlanders should have barrier-free internet access, and I look forward to this program continuing. I vote aye.
And with that, I believe the item passes. Great. And what I'd like to do now is resume our reading of 252. That's the item from the Water Bureau. Mr. Keelan, is there any special language that I need to say here? No? Okay, colleagues, I know some of you need to perhaps leave early. That's one of the reasons why I bumped up 252. It's an emergency ordinance. I already read the item just in plain language to describe to you what's going on here. This supports building the water filtration plant. There are some trees and shrubs in the public right-of-way which need to be removed in order to facilitate building this. Frankly, it's sort of an emergency here in that, at least it's time sensitive, in that the trees and shrubs need to be removed before nesting season. So we don't want to have to take them down once birds kind of settle in that. I believe most of the trees have already been removed. So in practice, what we're doing is coming back and giving you some clarity around this work that I authorized. And with that, I will turn the floor over to Jody Inman, Chief Engineer over at the Water Bureau.
Thank you, and my deepest apologies for missing this. I
We're-
couldn't
we're-
get downstairs
We're doing
fast
a lot
enough.
of improving today. That's fine.
All right, so I have a somewhat short presentation for this item. Next slide, please, Caitlin. So as Commissioner Mapps mentioned, this is an emergency procurement that was performed for arborist services for the Bull Run filtration facilities. Next slide, please. Just as a brief overview, we do want to remind, and you all are aware, that this project was located and designed to reduce impacts, including impacts to trees and natural areas. Part of the reason for using this particular site, it has already been deforested. And for the pipelines work, we did focus on using the existing right-of-way wherever possible. However, there are some trees and brush that do need to be removed. A significant portion of it is for road improvements that are required as part of the land use conditions of approval by Multnomah County. This includes road widening that we are required to do to bring local roads up to county standard. There are a few other trees that we are required to remove that are necessary for our construction, such as around the entrance to our tunnel site. This emergency arborist services procurement package is only removing some of the trees. It is removing the trees that are associated with the first pieces of work that we intend to do on the site. So We will be following the regular process for the remainder of the project. We focused in on just what we needed to do now. And a key component of why this was an emergency ordinance as well is that it is required to follow any contract that we do for work on the Bull Run filtration projects must include the WIFIA compliance language. Next slide, please. So that gets into the why emergency contract. The early work on the project, as I mentioned, does require tree removal for road improvements and grading. There are concerns regarding migratory bird nesting season and protection of native bird species. Doing the removal ahead of or very early on in the nesting season allows us to do that work without any potential delays to construction. As you move into the nesting season, you're required to do regular bird nesting surveys, and if a bird nests, then you cannot remove the tree, and hence you would delay construction until the eggs hatch and the birds have moved on. Given that we are looking to move into construction, we have started the construction phase and we are looking to move into physical construction in the area, this could have delayed us into and through the summer, which would be a significant impact to the project. I'm happy to say that we did and were able to do this work successfully and safely, and that it was completed prior to nesting season. Next slide, please. And just for a little bit more on the Migratory Bird Nesting Season Act. Nesting season starts on February 1st, which was the critical nature. We wanted to get out there early, and it extends through the summer. So again, the potential for a multi-month delay for some of that early work that we are required to do. Next slide. This is just a small example of, this is Carpenter Lane. It is the access to our site. It is one of those first pieces of road work that we are required to do. As you can see, it's a rural small road. We will be widening it to county standards. You can see on the left side of the picture some of the trees that planted in the right-of-way. They are not on private property that we were required to remove. This work is also required to be done first so that our construction equipment can safely access our site. Next slide. That's the end of my presentation, so if you have any questions.
Colleagues, any questions? Keelan, is there any public testimony on this?
No one signed up.
Okay, can we please call the roll?
Rubio.
Thank you for the presentation. I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Jody. It's good to see you, and your information was really easy to digest and support. I vote aye.
Gonzalez.
I vote aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I apologize. I might have preempted you.
No worries. I want to chime in as supportive as well. I vote aye.
Okay, am I the only one who cannot see the mayor?
I don't think there can.
Oh, there we go.
I vote aye.
I got it. Thank you very much. The item passes. Jody, why don't I keep you here? Then I can cut water loose. Let's read. We have a second item which is closely related. So why don't we just go do that? Keelan, can you read item 253?
Amend ordinance to acquire certain permanent and temporary property rights necessary for the construction of the Bull Run filtration projects through negotiation or the exercise of the city's eminent domain authority.
Thank you, Keelan. Colleagues, this item also comes from the Water Bureau, closely related to the last item that we just talked about. This ordinance authorizes the Water Bureau to amend necessary permanent and temporary easement access for the Bull Run water filtration project on one property. This amendment is necessary in order to comply with a condition placed on this project during Multnomah County's land use approval process. Now, here's some background on this particular ordinance. You might remember that back on December 7th, 2022, this council passed ordinance 191094, which authorized the Water Bureau to acquire certain permanent and temporary property rights necessary for the construction of the Bull Run filtration project. Now, after we passed that ordinance, the Water Bureau took this project through Multnomah County's land use approval process. The county's land use approval process issued a directive to the city which requires the Water Bureau to alter some temporary and permanent easement access during the construction project. The council action before us today allows the city to comply with Multnomah County's mandate. The project costs are unchanged by this amendment, so the cost associated with the acquisition of necessary property rights is still estimated to be around $6,600,000. And here to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Jody Inman, Chief Engineer with the Water Bureau. Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Maps, and I'm Jody Inman, Chief Engineer at the Water Bureau. So yeah, go ahead and go to the next slide, and so you'll probably be seeing more of me. I am excited to say that we are moving into the active phase of construction. However, this is somewhat related to that. So the next slide, please. So just a little bit of background for reassurance. So again, similar to how we followed the city and the Bureau's values and goals of the community and minimizing impacts, we sought to do the same thing with any easements that we were required to obtain for the project. We did that by using right-of-way wherever possible. Where we could not avoid an easement, we minimized the number of size of any permanent easements. We used temporary construction easements wherever possible. We minimized impacts, such as some of our permanent easements are placed over farm roads instead of over crops. And we do have a condition, and we are committed to restoring property to pre-construction conditions, including a special set-aside of agricultural topsoil to be replaced in the temporary construction areas that we impact when we're done with the project to facilitate returning it to farmland. We do follow all federal and state acquisition rules, and we have met with all of the property owners and this property owners multiple times throughout this process. Next slide, please. We have a total of 9 permanent easements and 8 temporary construction easements across 6 different property owners that we obtained through this project. I'm happy to say that we have just this one remaining. We have successfully negotiated with all of the other 5 property owners, and we are in the phase of they're either fully executed or we are in the process of signing documents. Next slide, please. So this is a very detailed and busy slide that might help explain why there are so many different easements on so many different properties. This upper left corner shows a little cutout. That is one tax lot. That is where the home is on this property. And then the larger parcel tax lot 900 is the greater farm area. They're both owned by the same property owner. So there's only one property owner impacted. The different colors of the easements reflect different uses and types of easements, from temporary easements that will be returned to farm use when we're done, to permanent easements that will be maintained for access. Along the far right, you'll see kind of the greenish, which hugs the property line. That is a permanent access easement. That is the subject of why we are here today, because that is what had to be revised. That has been placed over a farm road, so there is really no impact to the acreage of farmland. The biggest impact to any farmable property for the future is the purple area in the upper right corner, northeast corner of the property, which is where our intertie facility will be located. And you can go, next slide, please. So this slide, I understand it's hard to read, but down at the bottom, you'll see a little bump out in that kind of greenish area. Essentially, the original intent was for access along our pipeline, which will be under that route, to come in from the northeast and out through the southeast. However, that is the land use process that was impacted. The county will only allow us to access the site in one location. So what we have included is a turnaround at the end for our equipment to turn around and go back up and exit through the same location we came in. We are, the property owner has been made aware of this. And we have just received appraisals. So we will continue negotiations with your approval today and hopefully reach successful conclusion. With that.
I take it that's the end of your presentation?
That's the end of my presentation. Questions?
Colleagues, any questions? Keelan, any public testimony on this?
No one signed up.
All right, great. This item passes on to a second reading. Thank you very much. I appreciate your patience today. And with that, colleagues, why don't we return to the regular order? Keelan, can you please read item 249, please?
Accept bid of $1,999,235 from James W. Fowler Co. for the Sheridan Trunk WZ-03 project.
Mr. Mayor, I believe this one is yours.
What is the number, Commissioner?
249.
I was on the wrong one. Hang on here.
Sorry,
Thank
we've
you.
been jumping around for complicated
Not a problem.
reasons.
As part of the Bureau of Environmental Services work to maintain reliable sewer service, this item authorizes the rehabilitation of several hundred feet of new sewer pipes in South Portland on Southwest Sheridan Avenue between Water Avenue, appropriately named, and Moody Avenue. We have Interim Chief Procurement Officer Kathleen Brenes-Marua here to present the item. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. For the record, I'm Kathleen Brenes-Marua, Interim Chief Procurement Officer, and I am here to recommend authorization to enter into a contract with James W. Fowler Company for the Sheridan Trunk project. City Council approved ordinance number 191515 on November 8, 2023. The engineer's estimate for this project was $1,652,000, and the confidence level was high. Procurement Services issued the invitation to bid, and one bid was received on January 9th, 2024. James W. Fowler Company submitted the lowest responsive bid in the amount of $1,999,235, which is approximately 17% over the estimate. The city's aspirational 20% subcontractor and supplier utilization goal applied. James W. Fowler has committed to subcontract 6.75% to contractors certified by the state's certification office for business inclusion and diversity, as identified in the report before you. Fowler is self-performing approximately 89% of the work. Participation is low on this contract due to the specialty nature of some of the work. There are currently no certified firms who can perform tunnel rescue work or are qualified to install the spiral wound lining system that's required. James W. Fowler has committed to increase participation as possible as the construction work progresses. James W. Fowler Company is located in Dallas, Oregon. They are in full compliance with all city contracting requirements, and I recommend that you accept this report and authorize execution of the contract.
Thank you, Kathleen. Is that the end of your presentation?
It is.
Colleagues, any questions, comments? Keith, do I need a motion to accept the report, or do we just vote on it?
You do need a motion, and just to put on the record, no one signed up for
Okay,
this.
thank you very much. Colleagues, I'm looking for a motion to accept this.
So
report.
moved.
I'm looking for a second now.
Second.
The item has been moved and seconded. Let's call the vote.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
The item passes. Thank you very much, colleagues. Keelan, could you please read the next item on our agenda, which is 250, I believe.
Amend contract with Consor North America Incorporated for professional engineering services for the Marks and 105th Pump Station Upgrade Project in the amount of $458,676.
Great, and I see our staff is here. That's great. Thank you for being here, Lisa. Colleagues, this item comes to us from the Bureau of Environmental Services. This ordinance enables BES to move and upgrade a pump station in the Park Rose neighborhood. More specifically, this ordinance authorizes Environmental Services to amend its contract with Consor North America, Inc. The amendment is needed because the original scope of the contract was to rebuild and expand the existing pump station by purchasing an easement at an adjacent property. However, BES changed course after the adjacent property owner expressed concern about possible negative impacts to their business. That's why Environmental Services is now purchasing a property on the west side of Northeast 105th Avenue. This new plan is actually good news because at the new site, construction costs will be slightly lower, and at the new site is larger, which will allow better access for maintenance crews and will allow for future expansion. Here to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Lisa Moshinsky, Project Manager with Environmental Services. Welcome, Lisa.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. And for the record, my name is Lisa Moshinsky. I'm the Project Manager with Bureau of Environmental Services. And I've got a short presentation here. So Keelan, could you advance the slide for me? Thank you. So this ordinance is requesting the authorization for Environmental Services to amend its contract with Consour North America, Inc. for an additional $458,676. The amendments needed for professional technical expert services to upgrade and relocate our pump station to the 5635 Northeast 105th Avenue. The upgrades and relocation of the pump station help us meet current and future demand of the public sewer system. The projects to upgrade and relocate this aging pump station, you can see in the photo here, it's in a very small site. And so the project will help modernize equipment, increase our system capacity, provide safe access for operation and maintenance staff, and help serve the area and protect health and the environment. So the amendments needed, sorry, I think could you go to the next slide? Sorry. I forgot to tell you to advance the slide, so that was my fault. So that was the photo I was talking about with the small site and kind of already ran through that. So next slide. So this kind of shows a photo of the site. So it's needed, the amendment's needed because the original scope of the contract was to rebuild and expand that pump station. You can maybe see there's a very tiny sliver of property that we own. We were hoping to get an easement from the adjacent property owner. They had a lot of concerns about how it would negatively impact their business. So we were able to find a willing seller to relocate the property across the street. And as the commissioner mentioned, there's several advantages with that because construction is going to be slightly lower. It's a much larger site. It's going to give us really better access for maintenance crews. Has future expansion potential. And that ordinance came to City Council in December, and the property, we're supposed to close in April for that acquisition of that property. So could you go to the next slide now? So the amendments needed to modify the scope of the contract so we can now design for the pump station to be at this new location across the street. Next slide. And so the not to exceed total for the contract is increased, and it's now $1,368,324, and will extend the expiration date to June 30th of 2027. And next slide. With that, happy to answer any questions any of you might have on it.
Colleagues, any questions? Keelan, is there any public testimony on this one?
No one signed up.
Hearing none, this is the first reading of this item, so it passes on to second reading. Next, I believe we have a second reading on 251. Keelan, could you please read that item?
Authorize competitive solicitation and contract with the lowest responsive and responsible bidder and provide payment for construction of the Northeast 87th and Marks Sewer Reconstruction Project for an estimated cost of $1,006,000.
Thank you very much, Keelan. This is a second reading. Colleagues, any discussion on this item? Hearing none, Keelan, please call the vote.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Gibbs.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And colleagues, I believe that wraps up our work for the day. Keelan, is that correct? Well, thank you very much. I appreciate everyone's patience today. We are adjourned.